Hello and welcome to the newest episode of Borderline Podcast Disorder. It's not only the newest, but is also the hundredth, hundredth, and it feels like a pretty surreal milestone to reach. Especially because when I started this, I never imagined we'd get here. I don't know where I thought, or like how I thought it's going to work, but I don't know if I pictured this. And it's all thanks to the people listening and the people, the guests, the people who offer, who give their time and want to have a conversation, to record in the first place. But it's mostly up to the listeners, and I appreciate you all, because I think without you and without seeing people take in this content week in, week out, I don't know if I would have had the energy and the will to keep on going, even the times when things were quite hard, or harder. And I feel like I have to do a little bit of reflection now. And this podcast began as a deeply personal journey into living with BPD. I tried to address that, whilst I found it that I didn't want to do it on a comedy level, comedy stage level, because it was still something that I was trying to grapple with and make peace with at the time. And it's evolved into, and then the podcast is kind of evolved into a lot from the first episodes. You will hear the difference. I've learned how to edit better. I learned how to touch up. I've learned what sort of equipment I should use. And that was, a lot of it was because of some people who helped me with advice. And I'm very grateful for that. We've had so many incredible guests who open up about their lives, their stories, and then I've heard, from the people listening, about how the conversations that they've listened to help them feel less alone, more understood, and they felt like they've learned, or they've been exposed to new ways to navigate their own mental health journeys. And that's the reward that I was, I guess, looking for, or what I'm happy to hear about. um and there has been a lot of growth. I think the community on Instagram and YouTube has grown in numbers that I kind of I wished for, but I didn't think it would happen. And I appreciate every single one of you for that. And it's truly humbling to see how many people are engaging with the conversations. The ones that are sharing their own experiences as guests, and the ones that are helping spread the message that mental health, and especially BPD, deserves to be spoken about and without stigma. Um, we've tackled so many difficult dynamics, and we managed to find humor in some of the darkest places. And that's still something that I want to do. I want to keep on doing. And I just feel like it's fair to reiterate that the core message of the podcast, that this isn't therapy, but I hope it does continue to be a space where mental health meets the mic, where we can be unapologetically ourselves, and where we continue to break down the barriers surrounding BPD and mental illness. And look, I'm going to let you enjoy this week's episode, which is quite long anyway, so I don't want to keep you any longer. But it's a good one. It's with Matt Wills, and we've talked for almost 2 hours, I think, and it was great. To give you the heads up, the beginning of the episode, there was a little problem with my Mac when we started recording. So there are a few minutes that I thought were lost. Luckily, because we had Matt's mic as a second, as a backup, it's picked up the beginning of the conversation. However, because I've downloaded on a phone that I don't no longer have, I seem to have lost that file, which means that now I will try and improvise getting that piece of audio back. So you'll hear the beginning might be a bit sketchy, or it might not sound as good, but 10 minutes in, you will get back. You'll get the crisp and clear recording, because after about, again, 10 minutes, I've managed to fix up the Mac problems, and we got it running. So yeah, guys, enjoy. Well, guys, people, enjoy the 100th episode of Borderline Podcast Disorder, and thank you so much for tuning in.
First of all, I just barged into your home. I took all my clothes off. You were in the kitchen. You walked in. I'm not even wearing underwear. I'm wearing a pair of shorts. That's it. I'm completely stripped down. I've owned you. I've treated your home like a cat would. I'm like, this is all mine now.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I thought it was peculiar, but I respect that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that too many people. If I had to choose between this and someone who's like, oh, where do I go? What do I do? I'd much rather have someone who goes like, I've seen a couch before. I've seen a living room before. I know how it works.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's not to say anything. Like, I appreciate everyone who came in.
Yeah, no, you don't want everyone to walk in as naked as I did. I kept my wedding ring on.
It was quite cool.
My stepmom was this South African woman, and she would constantly have people over to the house, and they could move in if they wanted.
No way.
Yeah. And she was like, well, come, just stay here if you want. And people could come and stay as long as they liked. And that kind of has just stuck in my head. And she's like, when you go to someone else's house, what they want is for you to feel comfortable. They want you to be as comfortable as you would in their house as you were in yours.
It's fair.
So she goes, so just be like that. And years later, I ended up working with this South African guy. And he basically walked into my house, and my girlfriend was there at the time. He walked straight up to the fridge, and he just helped himself to a drink. And she was British, and she was not happy. Whereas me, because of my upbringing, I was over the moon. I fell in love with the guy straight away. Yeah. And we're still friends to this day.
No way.
Yeah, I went to his wedding. We lived together for years off the back of that, because he was so, it's my home. It's your home. If you've invited me in, this is as much my home as it is yours.
Yeah.
And you want me to feel relaxed, right? So you're like, yeah, come on then. So now I just do that. And this embarrasses the hell out of my wife. I'll just walk into a place as if I own it. Because that's just the way I was raised, right?
Yeah.
That's just, and I'm not polite in that respect from a British point of view. I haven't got that British sort of manners. So I'm like, yeah, this is mine. That's why I like cats. This is mine now.
But the thing is, because as you say that, it's something I haven't thought about for years. That I think when I was a kid, when I grew up, when I was a kid in Romania, that was pretty much like our door and my neighbor's door was always open.
Right. Yeah.
Like I remember, like if although my mom was wildly, prepared for the worst. Like if there was a pandemic tomorrow, we would be fine. But I'm just saying in the respect that
Yeah, and your mum will be there. I told you so. I'm
Yeah.
ready, Levy. I've been ready. This is it. This is what we work for.
Other neighbors would just like walk in the house. I remember like sometimes because before we got like a bigger apartment,
Beautiful.
I used to live in an apartment where I was like we had the kitchen, then you walk a little bit further is the living room and then the bedroom. So I was technically sleeping on a couch in the living room. That was my bedroom.
Right.
But then my computer was in my parents' my parents again in the bedroom, and I'd play on my computer, and then all of a sudden I just hear the door, like opening and closing, and I'm like, what the? And then you'd get out sometimes, and it's just like one of our neighbors from like 2 or 3 floors down, just going through the cupboards to go like, oh, I need sugar, or like I need baking powder, or I need white like flour or whatever.
There's something beautiful in that.
And that's why again I don't think it's a politeness thing because again I actually although again I get it like that's I also I get the sort of I guess like the British sort of like oh, I'm just gonna stand here and not move unless I'm allowed to like I'm being told that I may. And then I also get the other I think again this is the thing is I think it's one of the beautiful things of like when we talk about like people being different. I think that's one of the beautiful sort of differences. Where it's like again like, not maybe some people go not for me, but it's cool.
The weird thing is, as now I'm an adult, and like me and my wife live together. Obviously, I don't invite anyone around my house at all.
Yeah.
No, I don't want people around my house. I think my sister's been around 3 or 4 times. I've lived there for 12 years, and my sister's probably my best friend, right? And it's not that she's not welcome; she's more than welcome. But I'm not going to invite her in. It's as simple as that.
I think it makes sense because I think, for example, like even with our home here, although I use this to record the podcast at, when I'm free or anything like this, it's either I spend time with my future my fiance, or either I just spend time on my own. I'm kind of on because I feel like you want to make it your own. I think at one point, or when it's like this is my home.
Yeah, I don't want people in my own.
Yeah. Because also, like, I mean, and this is another thing. Like, when my partner, she woke up this morning and she was like, "Oh, you gotta like tidy up. You gotta make everything nice."
Well, because I was coming
people
round
to come over. Yeah, and I was like, "This is why I don't want people to come over."
I don't want to have to do admin because I have a guest.
I think sometimes I'm like, it should be grateful that they come.
And who's going to like later on? Am I going to be at home with my wife going, honest? They had cat food in the front room. Can you believe it? The animals. Oh my God. They had different colour candles. It's the fact that people genuinely care.
You did pick up on the 2 things that we did actually.
Oh, did you do?
Like we do have cat food in there.
We have cat food all over the place. Are your cats fat? Because your cats seem really.
They are just over a year old, so they probably.
All right, okay. Was that male or female?
But they are both females. They're sisters.
Is the one with the white boots called Boots?
No, it's Sarma, which is like a Romanian.
Does it mean boots in Romanian?
No, it's a cabbage roll.
Okay,
so Sarma means cabbage roll because we chose their names before we. It's like when you have a baby.
Hang on. You chose the name of the cat before you got the cat.
Yeah,
but how did you? No, this the logic of this is going way over my head.
Right.
How do you have to look at it before you can go, oh, that's cabbage roll.
No.
So the name was already
basically
God, that's insane.
We knew. So Irene's friend was like, oh, we have basically we found like some kitties that need a home, and then Irene was like, okay, fine, we'll take one of them, and then I was like, well, first cat is definitely going to be called Pickle. That goes without saying. So the black one is Pickle,
right?
And then basically 2 days later, she's like, oh, someone else said that they're going to come and pick up this other cat, but now they bailed and like they ghosted us. Do you either know anyone who would want another cat.
Oh, so they're brother and sister.
Yeah,
sisters.
yeah, from the same litter, from the same. I think they're like again.
Beautiful. Okay. And do they get on?
They get on, yes. Sometimes they fight. I think it's like a brotherly.
Yeah, that's a cat.
Like they would like fight in here, and then we have a bed on top of in our bedroom, and then they would just like sleep on top of each other. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
it's that kind of fighting, which I think is nice. But yeah, no. So then a couple of days later, this Irene's friend goes like, "Hey, look, the people who said that they would look after, or like they would take this other kitty, ghosted us now. In case you know someone, in case you want her, because I remember as soon as we picked up Pickle, I was like, we got to get a second cat." Because I thought, because it's not fair.
That's not enough.
Yeah, because I think for
They're like heroin.
Yeah.
Once you got one, you're like, wait.
And as well as I feel like,
come on,
you don't want an only child. I grew up as my sister is like 19 years older than me, so I didn't technically grow up with her in the house.
No,
and I hated it.
Yeah.
And now I was like, it's same with the kitties, because again, like Irene's a chef. I do 3 fucking jobs, and I want to be a comedian, and like I'm out and about a lot. I felt like it would be unfair although I think Pickle sometimes regrets the fact that she has to share the house with someone else, but still,
including the humans. Probably.
Yeah. I was like, look, I don't want them to be on their own, and so did Irene. Like she said, yes,
No, that's fair enough.
And then we were like, you know what? And then we're getting a second cat, and we're gonna name her like whatever. Again, we didn't even think what she looked like. We were just like, the name is gonna be Sarma, because when I took Irene to Romania the first time, or even like actually when we went to some like Eastern European restaurants in London when we started dating, she loved those like cabbage rolls, and it's actually like one of my favorite.
Okay.
I don't miss many things, if I'm being honest, about like growing up or anything like this, but sarmale is one of the things. Like the cabbage rolls are one of the things that I miss. And then
I've never even seen a Romanian restaurant. I mean, if you're going to find a Romanian restaurant anywhere, it's London. Right?
Yeah,
apart from Romania.
You went to actually, because you said you were in Gans Hill earlier.
Yeah.
There is one. There is one at the roundabout called Moldova, I think.
No way.
Yeah,
really?
I would love to take you one time. It's such a it's so Romanian. Like they have the shittest music you can hear, but it's traditional.
Whenever Romania's on TV, and like if you're playing football, and I'll get my cats, because my cats are from Romania, and I'll bring the cats in. I'm like, no, that's where you're from. I always think I know nothing of Romania apart from they do great cats. Is it cold in Romania?
It depends. Like this time of the year, it's hot.
And then their coats are so thick. And do the temperatures plummet though in winter?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be why then.
Yeah, I think historically now, thanks to climate change, not so much.
Right.
Well, I don't know if it's climate change. I think for some other reason. But yeah, no. When I was a kid, we had, I think, in the city that I come from, one winter we had -38.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not for me.
It's Celsius degrees. Again, always over.
I never understand the difference between the numbers.
Anyway,
in my head, it's big numbers or little numbers.
Yeah, so it's this
is -38 in the big number or the little number.
Is the below it is big. It's huge.
Oh my god!
As you're like, it's basically, I think what now it's 25, 26.
No, because I'm from the 70s. This is today. It's 76.
Really?
I'm from the 1970s.
Still do Fahrenheit?
I don't know what the numbers are called. I know big numbers and little numbers.
So imagine it's minus.
Whatever it is, I always get it confused. Same as I've got issues around the word, learning issues around the words there, and there. So THEY, comma RE. So now I've set, and then THEIR, and then THERE, right?
Yeah.
So, and my mates were always picking me up on it, right? Because they're the grammar police, some of my friends. And because everything's, you communicate loads on WhatsApp. So the typed word is really important then. And your grammar's important. Are we still there?
No, 1 second.
We were talking about how
everything's written.
Yeah.
So and that's really important now that you get your grammar right, or your mates pick you up on it. So I now have a hotkey on my mobile, and if I just type in THER, it then hotkeys all of the 3 theirs with a / between them. So I'm like, you pick which one you're happy with, because you get my point.
Yeah.
Because when I talk, I don't have to talk with
Yeah.
the comma and stuff. I don't have to say, oh, that I mean EIR, not ERE. I find it so confusing. And English is my only language, but I still struggle with it.
I get it though, and I feel like, and I feel, and I don't know what your thought on this, but I hear, even if again, it's not an easy language, if I'm being totally honest, because again, so many things sound so alike. That's one thing.
Right? Yeah.
And then the other one is also, I can't stand people who are like grammar,
Yeah, the grammar Nazis.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say Nazis?
I think so. Yeah.
Well,
Only I think that.
I mean, who are we going to upset? Nazis.
Yeah.
I think that's okay, isn't it? If
Or
we're
if you-
upsetting Nazis.
I-
My friend Francesco says, it's okay to have a go at Nazis. Although, who knew they'd be having a comeback?
That's good. Yeah. I think I always think about that. There is Ricky Gervais has a joke where it's like people used to have in their Twitter handle anti-fascist. And it's like I'd hope by now that goes without saying. And that's every time
It's a
someone.
given. Yeah.
And every time someone goes, oh, I
I'm
don't like
against
it.
violence against human beings. No, surely that's a.
And I think
We're there, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
We're not there. Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like every time now I hear people like, oh, I'm like, you kind of hope so, like
Yeah.
I think maybe it's my fault, but I feel like before I start a conversation with someone, I assume that they are anti-fascist, like that's one of the things that I just naturally
If you're going to do that, you may as well put, I don't eat human babies. Just to let you know. You're like, oh, okay, good to know.
like,
That's
oh,
good.
I did
But
wonder.
again, that should be your starting point. You should start from there. We just assume that that's a given.
Yeah.
No, I thought I'd let you know. That's where I sit on the side of history.
And you see,
I don't eat human babies.
well, in general, humans, although cannibalism is only that when you eat someone who's died to be eaten. So if you eat flesh from someone who's still alive, it's actually okay. I'm not saying I do it. I'm
Oh,
just
God,
saying
really? So I can eat a human baby. Is that what you're saying?
if
There are rules.
yeah,
rules.
there are rules.
Okay.
There are rules.
Hang on. Who made
No,
what?
I'm being serious. Like cannibalism is only
It's serious.
no.
I'm
It's,
serious.
I don't condone it.
I've read all of the cannibalism rules, and I've read that book twice. I know what I'm talking about. What do you want about? You're serious.
Yeah, apparently there are people on the internet who sell their flesh to other people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, again,
Okay.
I don't think they are babies who sell their flesh. I don't think they know
No,
how to use a
that's-
computer.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going tonight. My wife's going to go, how was that podcast? It took a bad turn early on.
But-
She went, did you talk about eating babies again? I did. I
Yeah.
got into the baby eating thing. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, so that's the thing is no, yeah. Apparently, this is the I remember because it was the Cannibal Cop when the Cannibal Cop thing happened. It was like a New York
What?
Cannibal Cop. So he was a New York officer.
I never watched the
Um,
news. So
Okay, so yeah, he was a
Way
New
out.
York officer, like, but I'm talking about years ago.
Right.
And then he got arrested because it turns out that he was a cannibal, which is quite a hard job to have when you're a cannibal. But anyway, he got fired for it. Or obviously, he got like arrested and all this. And then that basically, because the way he got caught is because he was on all those like online forums where people were talking about eating other people. And then it also it turns out that he actually technically never ate someone. He only wrote about wanting to eat someone, which I think technically
Okay.
doesn't make him a cannibal, but that's a
Yeah,
whole
okay.
different,
Yeah, yeah,
you know. But then, yeah, then the whole, then another thing came out, or at least at the time, yeah, I remember seeing it on the news. And again, I was in my teens, so it was quite like exciting, and that's why I went onto a whole like rabbit hole and doing the research. And it turns out that there were actually people who were selling, like they would like cut their ties and stuff and sell them, to other people on the internet because they were like, oh, I want to eat like human flesh. And then
where do you get to where you've eaten, cow, pig, whatever? At what point do you go? You're looking at your own arm, going, I wonder what that would.
I'm just going like, yeah,
my own arm.
jerky. You could just
I think a southern fried sauce with that would just go great. Maybe
No,
some
it's
butter.
wild again, and it was crazy again. I remember it was an experience. But anyway, what I was going to say is, yeah, I don't like people who correct the grammar, especially when it's like, if your whole, even say if you're, I think it goes both ways. If it's a friend, it shouldn't care. It shouldn't matter even more, because I'm like, you understand what I
You
said.
know what I meant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that I'm not using the version of there that means that this is theirs, when I have to do that they are meeting.
Yeah.
You know, like if you
Pedants die alone. Just remember that, grammar Nazi. Just
so that's the thing, is like, you know, like you're asking for all your friends to never want to talk to you again. You know, you're
yeah.
and then
Absolutely.
and then
Why are you making this conversation difficult?
and the
I'm not
second,
back at school. You're not my mum.
yeah.
Go away.
And the second one is like, when you're trying, I feel like when people try to like win like debates online or like arguments on the internet, and they're like, well, actually, you know what, you did have a valid point, but you used, and then so now I'm just
You used the colon rather than a
Yeah.
semicolon. So your whole argument is null and
Is
void.
not all-
Oh, really? We shouldn't eat babies. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, sorry, that's gone now.
yeah. Although it's
We're going to
factually-
eat babies because of the semicolon. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
like, no, what, factually, you may have a point, however, because you didn't express it in.
There was I saw a YouTube thing the other day where, because of the colon or the semicolon, the way they'd worded something
Yeah,
has cost American companies, because they love a bit of legislation, huge amounts. Because they're like, well, actually, the semicolon denotes this, so therefore you think your contract said this, but actually it said that. So pay these people overtime. It was just an understanding of how those little bits of
oh God,
punctuation. That's the word I'm after. The punctuation started. You know, there's a book by what is her name? Lynn. Is it Lynn? Oh, I want to say Lynn Truss, but it's not Lynn Truss. But she wrote Eat Shoots and Leaves, which it was all about grammar, and it's all about punctuation. And the only bit I remember from it is the Bolshevik uprising in Russia was all because of punctuation. So it was apparently the printers were saying, well, you can't just pay us per letter.
yeah,
You have to pay us for punctuation as well, because we have to put that in the stuff to print it
correct,
out.
correct.
And they're like, well, no, you don't pay for punctuation. And they're like, yeah, because it's just as much effort to put in a comma as it is to put in the letter Y. And they're like, no, no, no. And that was it, the Bolshevik uprising, because of the comma.
So you see,
So maybe the grammar Nazis have got a point, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I can't believe I'm defending
wait,
the
hang
people
on a
like
minute. No, that's worse. They are the reason why USSR came
Exactly, because of the comma.
because of a comma. Yeah, we would have avoided two of the worst, you know, types of governments, or like whatever the English word is for fascism and communism, all at once.
I think that's us as a
Fucking
society.
commas. Yeah, but that's actually quite funny. You know, it's like, I don't know. Like now, I know you're talking. I also, like, I don't do politics on the podcast, but it's kind of like now we're talking about like nuclear weapons, and then, you know, 100 years ago, people started wars not because nuclear weapons, but because, you know, actually that deserves a comma,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I should be paid for that
paid
comma.
the comma. Yeah.
I love that. I think it's like it sounds bad. I mean, yeah, I'll say it anyway. But I feel like I wish this was. Although I don't wish for whatever happened next, but I wish this was the sort of arguments that we'd have now as a society, where people would be like,
Where you could argue about something
yeah, it would be like, no,
which
I
now
should.
seems trivial.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't at the time, right? These people
No,
were getting
yeah.
ripped off for their labour.
I know.
But yeah, you're like, can we get back to that, please?
Yeah, it's
Rather
like
than-
the sort of arguments that I'd much rather see people go like, no, you should be paid by the letter,
Yeah.
and the comma should
Yeah.
count.
And it, yeah,
We're
and
gonna
it,
unionize and make this happen.
the union says.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because I don't follow the news, and people will say to me, it's terrible what's going on, isn't it? And I'm like,
Which bit?
No, I don't know what you're on about. And they're like, have you seen the news? I'm like, no, I haven't. And they're like, oh, it's awful. And it really, like, I've got a friend, it always depresses her. It makes her so upset. And I suggested to her that she stops watching the news. And it was almost like I just insulted her. She's like, no,
Yeah.
you have to know what's going on. I went, actually, you don't. You don't need to know what's going on. It's okay for some of us to be ignorant. I'm not mentally strong enough to handle the news. And I used to watch it religiously. but I can't now. It's so depressing that I'm like, actually, I'm not going to watch that anymore because me knowing about whatever's going on, it changes nothing. And people looking at me when I now say, yeah, I don't follow the news, and they look at me like, oh, what, you're ignorant by choice? I'm like, yeah, actually, it's not. It's to protect my brain. Actually,
I mean,
there's 7 billion people. Someone else can watch it. Someone
Have
else can
you-
pick up the cause.
have you seen the? Because I'm trying that now. I'm trying to
Oh, you're trying to get away from
get
the
away
news.
from it.
There's some news you can't avoid. right?
Yeah, but
Like
sorry. Go on.
when the Queen died,
Yeah.
you'll hear about that, or when something really bad happens.
Or if it's something again, like if it happens, like I don't know, God forbid, it's like, oh, there was a fire next to, you see it, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
like again, there is a local election, you see it because you get the leaflets. I mean, there are other ways, and I
Yes.
think I don't know if you watched Ari Shaffir's new special.
I love Ari Shaffir.
So he had,
Love him.
that's
That's how I met that guy I was just talking about, Francesco.
yeah,
That's how I met him because of Ari Shaffir.
no way,
We ended up sitting together at his gig in Edinburgh, and he said a joke. Ari Shaffir said a joke,
yeah,
and nobody laughed
right,
apart from me and this guy, and we couldn't stop laughing because we found the joke that funny.
no
There was
way,
There's about 100 people in the room.
yeah,
Only us two were laughing.
yeah,
And then afterwards, we went for food, and we're still friends to this day.
that's cute.
Yeah. He opened for he was the warm-up guy the other day. He's got a comedy club now in Portugal.
No way,
Yeah, he opened the other day do you know Todd Barry?
yeah, I know Todd Barry, yeah,
He opened for him the other day.
no way,
Oh, he's Francesco Kachoff. He's one of my not just because he's funny.
yeah,
He's just one of my favorite comics because of his work ethic. He's working so hard. Yeah, in Portugal as well.
yeah.
He's amazing. Anyway, check him out. He's
I was gonna say because I if you've seen the bit about the where it's like everybody knows about 9/11, and he had this whole bit where because he goes that's the thing because he does the thing was like I don't watch the news, I don't I don't engage with the news, I don't do anything about it because like if something happens that's like it's worth knowing,
I'll hear about it.
yeah, I'll hear about it. And he's like, because I think he had this thing where he's like, actually, you know what? I'm not going to spoil it either for you or for anyone listening. Check it out. It's
I think I
fucking,
saw that a couple
it's
of
incredible.
weeks ago. Yeah. He's a great comic, Ari Shaffir.
He is good.
He's
yeah.
very underrated.
Yeah.
And you mentioned to other comics, have you seen? And they're like, no, who is he? And you're like, okay, fair enough.
I think is actually, you know what? And this is how I kind of like got into it because I've watched the I think is either Jew or Orthodox is the name of his special, the one with the candles, and that was
I
amazing.
think that's the one I saw with Francesco. Yeah.
That was beautiful, and also because it turns out like his parents or like at least his dad, I think he's actually from Romania. He got like asylum to America, but he's from Romania.
Right.
He talks. I think he does like Ari does go like, oh, I don't think he's ever been to Romania or like he's not explored it that much. But I was like, oh, this is cool because the same with like Natalie Portman. She's from my
The
hometown.
actress.
Yeah,
She's
from my home. Well, again, heritage wise, she's from my hometown.
So you're practically related.
I know. Yeah,
This is the same way I'm practically related to David Beckham,
exactly.
right? Because he's from Leytonstone. So
There you
no,
go.
I'm from effectively Wanstead. So
There you go.
Yeah. So it's yeah.
Same.
There we go.
Yeah. I knew when I look at you, I go like David Beckham.
Many a times I'm there shaving in the morning. If I let this grow, I'd be mistaken for him on
You
the
should just
street.
wear a little Peaky Blinders, the hat.
When I first met my wife, I don't know how we got talking about this, but you know the clothes company Matalan.
Yeah.
And she said to me, she said, "Are you wealthy?" And I said, I set up a clothing business. And she went, "Did you really?" I went, "Well, it's just shops. We've got a couple of shops." And she went, "What? Tell me about these shops." And I went, "Oh, it was with my mate Alan. We just set up a clothing brand." And she went, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She went, "What's it called?" And I went, "Matalan." And she went, "Shut up." And I went, "Yeah, no, that's mine. Matalan. That's mine." And she went, "Oh my God, that's amazing." She believed that for about 2 weeks.
No way.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, what else would this woman believe? What? But the thing is, that broke the trust between us, right? Because now if I tell her stuff,
Yeah.
whatever it may be, she's like, "Yeah, I need to double check that."
You might
She has to double check everything
Everything,
I say.
yeah.
She doesn't trust me at all on anything. She's like, I need to verify that.
Matt, Alan. That's a good one.
Alan.
Yeah.
And because I spell my Matt with one
With
T.
one T, yeah.
Yeah. So it's, and she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I was like, yeah, you know. I said, but
Yeah.
don't tell anyone. This is, you know, because I get
Confidentiality.
embarrassed about it. And she's like, well, what are you doing working in IT? I'm like, don't worry about that.
No.
I just to
Pleasure.
keep grounded,
Pleasure.
grounded.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, just business meets pleasure, and you know, I'm a software kind of guy,
Yeah.
and I like
Yeah, I like people. I get
Yeah.
with people.
yeah, I love. Oh, I used to do tech support, and I hated it. I like the tech part, but not the support part.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I-
I'm actually
yeah.
quite curious. I want to ask you because so were you doing comedy as well at that time?
Weirdly, I was a sky. I had a bit of a. I wouldn't say a breakdown, but I was close to having a breakdown in about 1999. So I drank a lot and I smoked a lot of weed. Basically, and it was because I was born with a condition, so I had really bad hips,
Oh.
and I was always in pain. And basically, I was using the booze and the weed because I was just in pain a lot.
Yeah.
Or so I thought. When I got my legs fixed a few years ago, it turns out, yeah, the booze and the weed were because I loved booze and weed. That was
Fair.
I was like, oh, it's for the pain. It wasn't. It was because I'm
Yeah.
an alcoholic and I'm a
goodness.
stoner. So but yeah, I was having a bit of a burnout in about 1999, and I was working in IT, and the guy I worked for, he just turned around to me and he said, you need to go away. And I went, what do you mean? He went, I went, it's Y2K. This is it. This is everything we've worked for the last 15 years. I can't just go away. And he went, you can just go away. Do yourself a favor. And I was like, are you sacking me? And he went, no, if I've got a company, you'll always have a job, but you're not well. Go away. And I was
Holy
like,
shit.
oh, okay. And that broke me. But he was absolutely right because he loved me, right? And he was just treating me well.
Yeah.
And I'd saved up some money. So I went abroad and I just traveled.
Yeah.
And I was having a whale of a time. And then I got to New Zealand and I was a bit stoned one morning. And this guy said, do you want to do a skydive? And I was like, yeah, man, come on then. So I did a skydive strapped to him. And it flicked a switch in my head. And I went, oh, I want to skydive. I said, can I do this on my own? And he went, yeah, go and see Billy in, where was it? In Auckland. No, not Auckland. Christchurch. Go see Billy in Christchurch. He'll teach you. So, yeah, I moved to Christchurch in New Zealand. I met Billy, the flying Maori, and he taught me how to skydive. And, yeah, I stayed there for a few months. And then I went, okay, when I got my license, I then went, how do I get better at this, Billy? Because I wasn't the fittest bloke and my legs were all bad and stuff. And he went, oh, you should go to Skydive University. Now, I left school at like 15, right? So I'm like, I can go to university for skydiving. And he went, yeah, in America. And I had some money and I'd taken a year off. And this was like January. And I went, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, okay, all right. So I just went to I went to Skydive University.
No way.
I was there. I was having the best time. I was jumping with the best people. It was great. And yeah, I had a skydive accident. Basically, I busted up my ankle on a landing. So I got shipped home. And then when it got better, I carried on skydiving. And the girl I'd met when I was traveling, she came over from Ireland. We moved in together. We bought a house and I carried on skydiving. I loved it. And then, what was that? That was like the year 2000. And then in about 2004, I went down to my local drop zone in Headcorn in Kent, and I did a skydive, and I was learning to do a thing called head down, which is basically, so instead of belly to earth, you basically you get on your head. So when you're belly to earth, you're at 115 miles an hour. But I was trying to flip it on my head. So think of that water bottle.
Yeah.
If you turned it completely upside down so that the lid part is facing the earth, that's called head down. And you do great tricks. And it just looks cool. Right? It just looks really cool. But you change the speed you're going at. So you go from 115 miles an hour. And I think terminal velocity is about 125. But you change your body shape and speed to about 300 miles an hour. And I hadn't mastered it because I wasn't fit enough or flexible enough. And in my helmet, because Billy told me all the right things I needed to get.
Yeah.
And in my helmet, I had a thing called a ditter. And what a ditter does is if you're too low and you haven't pulled your chute because you forget,
Yeah.
you lose altitude awareness, it starts going dee 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 dee.
Right.
So I was trying to do head down and I forgot that I was in the sky. And it's really common.
Right.
It's really. I know it sounds weird. That
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit. You know, when you're on stage and you're having the greatest gig ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't experienced that, but you know when you're having that, right?
Me neither. I heard about it.
I've heard about it as well. Right? And you lose track of time and space and everything, and you're so present. It's beautiful. And I was just present in that moment of trying to basically get on my head, and then suddenly the ditter started going off. And it was like beep, 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 beep. And I remember this so well. I looked around because I thought a truck was backing up.
Yeah.
Right. Now, bear in mind, I'm falling to earth at like 100 and it measures your speed. So I knew I was doing 167 miles an hour.
Wow.
And I panicked. And what I should have done is I should have leveled out and slowed down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't. I pulled my chute because I panicked and I got quite bad whiplash. But I was so buzzed with adrenaline, I didn't notice. And I went home, I smoked a joint, had a beer, and I started watching some porn. And then on the good bit of porn, when I sort of climaxed, I sneezed, and basically I broke my neck.
No way.
Yeah. It was my first hour show that I ever wrote in comedy was called Skydive to Stand Up. And it was basically it was me being a skydiver and then getting into, and I was laid up for about 3 months. And my long suffering partner, God bless her, she was awesome. She helped me out, and she was great. And breaking my neck that ruined me mentally.
Yeah,
I was
of course.
I couldn't skydive.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do? And my friend Janet, she was a comic, and she was really starting to get somewhere. And she just said, "Look, why don't you try this stand-up comedy course?" This was about 2005, and I went, "What? A course in comedy?" She went, "Look, it might really help you." So I did, and I did that, and then off and on for the next 20 years, I tried stand-up, then I quit, and I'd quit for like 7-8 years.
Right.
And then I'd keep coming back to it. And then it didn't work out with my missus because I was with the girl I was with.
Yeah.
Basically because I was an alcoholic and a drug addict and I treated her awfully. And then when I met my wife, we were getting drunk one day around 2010, 2011. And she just went, "If you ever want to do comedy, I'd support you." And I went, "What? What do you mean you'd support me?" She went, "I think you'd be really good at it." And I went, "Do you really?" And she went, "Yeah, you're really funny." And I went, "Oh, wow." And no one had ever said, "I believe in you," like that.
Yeah.
And I went, "What do you mean you support me?" She went, financially. She goes, I've got a job. I probably earn enough to keep us going. And I was like, "Oh, wow. Okay." And that was 2010. And then I'd had a goal. So I went, okay, I'm going to work towards that. So I worked towards that. I tried it for a year or so, from 2011 to 2012, and then I bumped into a mate on the street. I was doing a contract job in IT, and he said, "Do you want to do a job for me?" And the job was ridiculous. He said, "Look, all you got to do is come in every day and buy milk." And I went, "What?" "Just come in and buy milk for the office." And I went, "What? You mean milk that goes in tea and coffee?" And he went, "Yeah." And he went, "There's a few other little bits, like, you might have to answer the phone, keep the office tidy." Now, bear in mind, I was a network engineer. I was managing massive projects.
Yeah.
I was working in investment banks, biggest law firms in the world. I was doing like proper, genuine work, right?
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh my God, that sounds amazing. That sounds like the greatest job in the world."
Yeah.
No responsibility apart from buying the milk. Who could mess up buying milk? So I went, "Yeah, I'd love that, please." And he offered me just a ridiculous sum of money to do it. And he goes, "Look, there's a lot of egos here. It's very complicated, but that's what we need." He went, "I need someone I can trust to do it every day." And he went, "You're solid." And I'd worked with him since I was a kid. And I went,
Right.
"Yeah, okay, mate. All right, I'll do that." So I did that for 3 months. I went off to Edinburgh Fringe, and when I got back, he went, "Do you want to go full time?" And he went, and he just offered so much money, and it was just, So I stopped comedy, and I did it now and again, occasionally.
Yeah.
And then I went back to Edinburgh in 2018. I was always doing Edinburgh, and then in 2018 I went there, and I was so bad. I'm not a good comic, right? I know you've seen me, and you're like, oh, I wasn't. I've got better recently, but I was terrible. And
No way.
even now, I still think, Even now, I still think I'm just lazy. Right, when
Interesting.
it comes to comedy. If I worked for you in IT though, I'd do 20 hours a day. I'd run through walls.
Really?
But comedy, I don't know. And bear in mind, it's something I love.
Yeah.
And my missus is like, look, you got to write more. You got to write more. And that's where I fall down. But I went to Edinburgh. I failed miserably, and I got back and I spoke to my boss, and he went, "How was it?" And I went, "I just failed every day." He went, "Oh mate, I'm so sorry." I went, "Yeah, me too. I resigned," and I resigned. And he went, "What are you doing resigning?"
Yeah.
And I went, I want to be good at comedy.
Yeah.
And I just went, okay, I'm not going to have kids.
Yeah.
I want to get good at this. And I'd still tempt for them up until when they sold the company a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I would tempt for them off and on. They would fund my lifestyle. They've been great. Yeah. If it wasn't for them, I would have never been a comic. They were amazing.
Huh.
Yeah, they really looked after me. They helped get me sober. And when I got my leg,
No way.
Yeah, so in 2013, my mate who said come buy milk.
Yeah.
He took a picture of me and he went, "Can I just show you what you look like?" He went, "What? What's going on with you?" And I was yellow,
No way.
right? Just proper yellow. Yeah, it's just, and I said, "My legs really hurt. I'm drinking a lot more." And by then I was on morphine patches, and I was holding down a job, right?
Yeah.
At that stage, I was then IT manager, facilities manager. What else did I manage? Events. So I started off buying milk, but I was running 3 departments, and it was one of the greatest firms I've ever worked at.
Yeah.
I loved it. Just all my mates were there. They're still my mates now. I'm that guy, the milk guy. Yeah, I'm going to do a job for him on Sunday. And he goes, and he's going to pay me cash as well. God bless him. Because as a comic, you want money coming in. And he went, I'll give you 100 quid. And I went, yeah, I'll come and do it. And he knows this. He could say to me, will you come and do it for free? And I'll be like, of course I will, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Because I love him, right? I
of course.
love working for him. But yeah, I just turned around to him. I said, look, my leg's really hurting. And he went, can we talk about your legs then? And we sat down, we spoke about it for weeks. And I put my name on a waiting list and I got my hips replaced.
Damn.
It's changed my life, completely changed my life. Because as soon as the pain was gone, that's when I realised, I got a problem with alcohol and marijuana. Because, like I said, the pain.
Yeah, because
once I took all the pain away, I was like,
you still want it.
Yeah. Oh, why do I want it?
Yeah.
Oh, because I really like it.
Yeah.
And I loved it, right?
Yeah.
Even now, the only way I can stay sober is, my mate gave me this. He said, just keep saying this, just for today. He went, you can't be sober for the rest of your life. He goes, is that a problem for you? And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And he went, so can you stay sober today? And I'm like, yeah. He went, okay, that's your word, just for today. And I have moments of huge doubt and temptation. I work in comedy now, right?
Yeah.
Booze is
everywhere. Yeah.
We're not comedians. We're people who are helping to, the business side of it is what helps sell booze.
Yeah.
And that's where the money is, which pays for, the money in the seats are what pay for the comics, right?
Yeah.
It's all about booze sales. So, and anyone who's like, no, it's not, you're an idiot. It is. It's about alcohol.
Yeah. I mean,
people don't, if you was going to come out and do everyone there's going to be no alcohol. Do you know how many people will come to your gig? One, it'd be me, right? There'd be a couple of sober idiots like me.
And I think even when you're looking, like you said, on a, when you think, I don't know, so and so gives you a room in a pub, or even actually like clubs who have, they don't make the money from the tickets that they sell. That usually just goes towards the paying for the acts and for the night, and they don't do it from the goodness of their heart.
Of course they do.
Because of whatever comes at the bar is where they make the most money. Yeah, again, this is thing. It's logical, and you can be like, you might not like it.
Doesn't matter if you like it or not. If you want to do X,
you have to accept the logic.
Y.
Yeah.
There you go. So he helped get me sober, and yeah, that's changed my life completely. So I've been completely sober for 6 years. What really helped, like the final nail in the coffin with booze,
Yeah.
was the pandemic for me.
No way.
It was a for me. I know a lot of people died, and that's a real shame.
Yeah.
But for me, I love the pandemic. I loved it. If it was up to me, if we could plan another one, because I don't know anyone who died.
Yeah.
And that's an awful thing to say. But I had a final summer with my cats. So my cats died.
Sorry about that. But
Yeah, it broke my heart. But they died like the end of that summer, like coming into winter.
end of 2020.
Yeah, and
Right.
but we had 6 months together of just hanging out in the garden, me, them, and my wife, and it was great, man.
Of course.
It was great. We didn't
Yeah.
have to go to work. I was working remotely.
Yeah.
I set up a podcast.
Yeah.
Just the best time ever.
Yeah.
It was just great. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And also, because my wife's like, we should always get people round. And as I said earlier, I don't want people around my house. There was no reason to get people around your house. You know,
So we can't.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Now I'd love to do that, babe. But whoa,
Yeah.
Boris Johnson,
Restrictions.
that guy.
Oh no.
But when that came around, so from 2013, I would only drink once a year. And it was when we went away to this place where we met. And that was for 3 days. So I'd go on a 3-day binge.
Yeah.
And that would probably take me about a month to recover. Because,
No way.
yeah, I really like drinking.
I mean, my dad used to do that, you know?
I binge drink.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But like he used to have this. Sorry, because this is totally like. Actually, no. Finish your.
No. Go on. Tell me about
Right,
that.
no. Yeah. So basically,
Do you drink?
No. I'm sober.
And
I
deliberately
struggled.
sober.
Deliberately sober. Yes. Yeah. I struggle with alcohol. Mine was alcohol and I'd say no. Actually, drug. Like I used to do like gear and stuff like that. But I wouldn't say I was addicted. It was just
What do you call gear?
cocaine.
Right. Okay.
But I used to do that for a bit, and but it was mostly alcohol and gambling were my two addictions. That's why I have Merson's. Yeah, that's why I have Paul Merson's book, because I feel like, again,
Great book. The Paul Merson stuff is awesome. Yeah.
and but anyway, so the thing is with my dad is that basically he was an alcoholic, or like he was an alcoholic, and then when he met my mom, because he used to check in on rehab like twice a year.
Right.
Like he used to. It's crazy. I don't know how.
Back, Billy.
Like but
Is it June already?
yeah. He would pack his bags and know that he's going into rehab twice a year. And then my mom was like, but then the conditions were terrible. Apparently, I don't know. That's before I was born. And then my mom was like, look, if you want for us to be together, because again, they just started dating. But they were like, my mom was like, look, if you want for us to be together, you got to stop this shit. Again, like the drinking, not the going to, because obviously that will go without saying. And my dad was like, yeah, cool. I'm not going to drink again. But then he would do the same thing here. He would say, like, he would drink on my mom's birthday, his birthday, Christmas, Easter.
Yeah.
But then, he would go on like 3 days.
Proper binge.
Like 3 to 4 days. And then he would end up with like my mom, like locking him in the house, hiding the keys, getting like, making him like mashed potato with yogurt and shit, so that he basically like gets like his digestion, everything back. And then after that, my mom would be like, and also like I remember even in those days, my mom would have to go from, on the first day, she would give him like a shot with each meal, like a shot of like alcohol, and then the next day would only be one shot on the last day, and then on the second day would be only one shot in the afternoon, and then the third day would be nothing, and then the fourth day he would actually go out.
That's amazing.
And then she was quite proud about it. She was like, she basically, ever since they got together, he'd never been into so that's why, like, I don't know that guy. Like when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about stories about it. And again, obviously, actually, I know the binges because I've seen the binges. It's quite funny. I remember, I don't know if I should, but I'll say it anyway. I remember one time my mom picked up, because this is like a Romanian thing where my mom, it was a summer, and my dad basically got so pissed, and he came home, and I think my mom was annoyed because my mom was, I think she was doing like the summer cleaning or something. And she was annoyed that my dad was home now, because like she couldn't hoover and stuff because he was going, oh, it's too loud, it's too loud. So then my mom started hitting my dad with slipper. Like, oh, you fucking drunk. And then my dad started laughing. And then I remember crying. I was like, stop eating that, stop eating that. And my dad started crying. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, what? And then, although bear in mind, before I say, actually, I'll say this first. And I was like, why are you laughing, Dad? And he's like, oh, just wait until I sober up. I have to say again, he's never laid a finger on my mom.
Right, yeah.
But basically, he was laughing because he was like, oh, you beat me now. But then when I'm going to sober up, we're going to be able to fight like, like equal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to him, it was just funny because he was like, yeah, because he would be like, yeah, you have a lot of courage. You have a lot of courage now that, I can't move and everything hurts.
Nothing's working.
Yeah. I was like, just wait until I sober up. Just wait. And then again, he will like feel ashamed and stuff like this for a few days. But again,
I think that's what the alcoholic feels all the time.
Yeah, and
driven by shame.
Well, but it works because and then I know from like my own experience, because I think you were talking about how you'd be like, oh, I'm drinking because of my hips problems.
Yeah,
mine was I wasn't able, I had night terrors, and I didn't know they were that for years.
Man, I get massive night terrors. I still get them.
And I used to drink because I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna drink because then if I fall, I have to fall asleep. Like, if I drink,
because you avoid sleep because you're so scared of the night terrors.
Well, that's the thing. But then if I were to drink, I would just pass out.
Yeah.
And then I'd wake up. Like, I remember at one point when I used to go home, I used to work in hospitality at the time as well. And I would go and like buy 2 bottles of wine on the way home. And then I would just sit on the couch and like not even drink it as in like, I'd pour it in a glass, watch the TV. No, I'd drink it like I'd down one and then I down the second bottle and then I just wait to
like taking medicine.
Yeah, and that was it. And then and then again from that more recently, I think when I came to London, after I came to London I stopped drinking because I had another episode, and I think the last time I used drugs as well was around that time. And again, it was because of the comedy. I was like very miserable on my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And I was just drinking constantly. And again, it went from like, oh, I'm just drinking at a gig with my, comedy mates, to, oh, I'm getting a 6-pack on the way home.
Yeah.
And then
I've already had a bottle of wine. I might as well have one more. What difference does it
make? Yeah, and then I'd like
justification.
I remember like I woke up once and my room stank of beer because all the beer cans were just like next to, because I was just renting a room at the time, and I was just like drinking beer in my room and just leaving the cans there.
Yeah.
Then I just wake up one morning, I was like, this fucking stinks. Like this, and then I was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's me."
Oh, it's you. Yeah.
And then because of that, and also like I've put on a lot of weight and stuff like this, and I'm done.
So did you go to meetings or anything? Did you get support?
No, I didn't. But that's because the reason why I didn't go to the meetings is because I quit around the same time when I basically started. I was doing therapy anyway.
Yeah.
For like I was doing the CBT. And then the thing that triggered me quitting drinking was the same thing that triggered me seeing a psychiatrist and then getting my BPD diagnosis, which then put me into doing treatment with other people as group therapy.
So I used booze was the step one.
No, I think again because it wasn't even
because you knew something was not right with you.
Yeah, I think it wasn't just the booze that was the step one. The step one was basically I was doing I was still doing gong shows at the time, and I did the ding dong.
The
ding dong, the one at Vauxhall. When it used to be at Vauxhall, now it's a Big Belly. Right. But then when it used to be at Vauxhall still, and then I did that, and I remember I got through. I got through. I don't think I won. I think I was like second best, but I was like on stage at the end with the clap off and everything, and it was great. It was like people coming after show, like, oh, I love your stuff. Like really. Like cool, but then I was like, I fucking hate myself. I was like, like I hate everybody. I hate everything.
I'm gonna start with me. But it was spread out to everyone. Yeah, there's 7 billion people on the planet. I'm going to start with hating me, and I'm going to get to all of you. Yeah.
And and then I remember just kind of like again after the show,
So relatable.
I was just like hanging out with another comic, and then I was like, okay, you know what? It's a bit late now. I'm gonna go home, and then on the way home, I was chain. I just started chain smoking, and I think I got off the train at like a King's Cross, although I was living in North London, and I thought I'm just gonna walk home.
So
'Cause
you
I-
could smoke.
Because so I could smoke.
Yeah, yeah.
I was smoking, then I picked up another like four. I think I picked up like a 4-pack, and then outside my house I picked up another 4-pack before I went
Oh,
back.
man.
But then basically the only thing that happened is, and I'll have to put a disclaimer. Because I was on the third floor of the building. I just basically I sat on the window. So
Yeah.
I put myself, and I just hated myself for not having the courage to jump.
Oh, shit.
And I just sat there
That's
like
when you know you're sick.
yeah, the entire night I just sat basically on the how do you call it, like the side of the basically on the window.
Yeah, yeah.
I just sat on the window, and I was just like, I wish I could do it. Like I was just like, I want to do it.
Wow.
I need, yeah. And then I remember like the sun rising. It's quite dramatic. I
quite
remember
dramatic. Yeah.
the sun rising, and I was like, "This is fucked up." And I remember it was like April. Yeah, it was before my birthday. It was before my birthday, and I was like, "Yeah, this is fucked up." And I remember going like, "You know what? And it was the same thing that I used to do with cigarettes, which is still something that that's what I miss the most, to be honest. Smoking. I don't care about drinking that much. Smoking is one thing I
Okay.
miss. But then because I have such an addictive personality, I got into running and then into golfing, and because of that, I can't smoke anymore. Because then if I smoke, I can't breathe. So then
Yeah,
it takes me away from like doing all the other stuff that
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
now
yeah.
addicted to instead of. Anyway, coming back, see the sun rising. I was like, "Fuck, this is crazy." And then at the time, I was working for a big company, and we had the private healthcare. And I called. We had like a GP, like a private GP.
Yeah.
And I called the private
Love
GP.
private healthcare.
Yeah, and I was like, I need to see someone. He was like, yeah, but I think the GP was like, oh, do you do anything? Like, do you see? I was like, yeah, I do CBT. I was like, but it's not enough. I'm like, look, I can't, like, I just can't do this anymore. He was like, okay, do you think a psychiatrist can help? And I think, yeah, I think that's the right thing to. And I got the referral for the psychiatrist again, much quicker and everything. But yeah, that's what kind of like started. So again, it wasn't necessarily
How
I
many
think
years ago was that?
almost 3.
Hey, congratulations, man.
Thanks.
Just to I think just to identify, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
But some people don't, do they? Right? Some people can't identify they've got a problem, and it doesn't end well for them.
No.
Or they stay miserable. I always reference this one thing that I think really helped me, and it was at the top of the tube station stairs, and it was just this, and you can find it online. It's quite a famous poster apparently, and it just said on it, "If you don't like your life, you can change it." And I looked at that for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
And I never got it. It didn't. When you see something every
Yeah.
day, and I was just, and then one day it just hit me, and I was like, "Oh, it's up to me." And it's so I genuinely find it so difficult to be sober, and because nothing exciting happens, right? But what I call excitement
Yeah.
to everyone else is chaos.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had this is the relationship I'm in now. This is my 5th long-term relationship, and effectively the 4 women before that, I still know them. We still talk from time to time. I don't know why they do that. I think it's just because they got great souls. I treated them awfully. There's a lot of shame around that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And even for the first 5 years with my wife, I was just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said to her once, I said, when I first got sober, I went, "Do you miss drunk me?" And she went, "I miss some of the spontaneity." But she goes, "You were an arsehole." And I'm like, "Well, why did you stay with me?" And she went, "I don't know. She went, "I loved you. I fell in love with you."
Yeah.
And I think that's the same as your mum, right? She loved your dad for that chunk. If you think of it like a
Yeah.
pizza, like I loved the 7 slices, but it was that one slice that was just awful. But you put up with the one slice because you've got the 7 slices.
I mean, I always even think about the like seeing through people as well. Like that, I think that's a
Don't know
thing,
what
and
you mean.
I see it mostly when I don't know. But although this is a very dramatic example, but it's like, when you think like, oh, how come, like. I don't know, say like, how could Stalin be married or some shit like how could someone
Yeah.
fall in love for a because again although actually I think no I'm not going to say that because I think actually as I was about to say it, sounds a bit I don't it's not strong enough. Anyway, let's go back to the to my parents, for example, because I think you kind of like you see through that sort of like that layer of like, oh, this guy's like an
Yes.
asshole, but
Yeah,
it's kind of like, you know what, and again, it's not an
That's only a
excuse because I
small
know
part of
people
them.
exactly, it's a small part of them, and also sometimes, and I think this is where it's hard sometimes because sometimes that's how you get burned, right? Because that's how like I think
Yeah.
maybe it's happened to me, not so much romantically, but I think friendship wise, especially like when you're around drugs and booze, it's kind of like, oh, that guy's fucking cool, I love that guy, and then you're like, oh, this guy's a fucking moron, and then you know and you can't get
Yeah.
and you can't get past it.
Yeah.
But then in some situations you can. So I think, but again, sometimes unfortunately, that's why you have people who say are still in a relationship and things are still terribly wrong because they live with the hopes that the other person, like the moron in the relationship, is going to eventually change. So again, I feel like it's a very fine line, and again, it's like a knife with two sides. But again, sometimes it works for the best. Sometimes it's actually like you stick around with a person just because you kind of like, because I think the whole thing about my dad, and I also like I have I've been thinking about it a lot recently with like my dad. People either loved him or hate him. Like he wasn't, to me.
So he was Marmite.
Yeah,
Your dad was a Marmite.
to me he was a brilliant father before until he got sick. To my mom, he was I'd say he was a good partner, but again, given the circumstances and the ways we grew up.
Yeah.
But like people that he worked with, even like some other like family members, he was very much like, I'm only looking after the people that are like, I'm only looking after my home. Like if I have to put myself first, and then that annoyed a lot of people. My dad was, again, at times he was very like, if you owe me something, I got to make sure I get it back. Sort of. Again, I'm not going to go into those details for legal. No, but no, but anyway, all I'm saying is
he got what he was out.
Yeah, lots of people hated my father, and then the ones that liked my father or loved my father, they were like hardcore fans of my father.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the way to live. I think he could have done better.
It worked for him, right?
But then also it's circumstantial.
Yeah.
It's based on the circumstances. Like like he grew up in a fucked up household. Like his dad was a huge dick. He had the worst conditions. He was the only one who went on like higher education from his family. Although he had to look after the household since he was like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
He ended up going to the army, and he ended up being like quite higher up in the army, and then being quite higher up in a communist cooperative in Romania. Although he hated communism, but like basically he was like an undercover.
But he made it work.
Yeah, and he made it work because he was like, I have no,
because he had to eat.
Yeah, exactly. So you see that but then after communism ended, he became like, he opened his firm straight away, and he was like the biggest like capitalist prick that you can fucking think of. But again, because he was like, look, these are the times, you got to get on with the fucking times. Like you can't. I remember my mom was the one who was like very like ideological. Although again, I love my parents very much. I have to say, like, I'm not saying this in the respect of like, oh, my mom was being silly. It's more of I've seen the sides, or like my mom was very ideologically correct, and my mom was very like, oh, I wish for a world where everybody is treated as equal and everything. My dad was like, that's a pile of shit because it's not realistic. You have to again, it's like you have to work with what you've got.
Yeah.
And then if you've got shit, you sometimes have to work with shit.
Yeah. These are the rules of the game.
Yeah, and then
understand the rules.
And then like, for example, like my mom would again, like same as you're saying, like she would watch the news, she would be like, oh, that guy's and that guy is corrupt, this, like, go protest, go and do this. And my dad was like, you can still show you can still, again, you don't have to like people, and you can still fight against them, but you have to do it in a way that doesn't put you, again, my dad was pretty much like, don't put yourself in danger, don't allow other people to take you down quickly, You have to be like, that's the thing with politics. My dad was both sides. Like my dad would support both the people who are running
That
for
makes
mayor,
sense to me.
but he wouldn't tell they wouldn't tell the one. Like my dad was like, you never talk politics. You listen to politics, but you
Yeah.
don't say what you think.
That's very wise.
Yeah, he was like, if he would meet the mayor, he would be like, "Oh, how's it going?" And they would be friends, and we used to like hang out, and stuff like this. But then if he lost the elections, and actually this other guy came on, who my dad absolutely hated, but my dad would still like,
Hey, how
"Hey,
you
here's
doing?
the man. Yeah, how you
yeah.
doing?" And
Because he plays the game.
exactly,
Yeah, because he
and
had to.
again, was it the best? I don't know, but I get it
But it was
because
the best
again,
for him.
he had no choice. No, he had no choice. He chose to do that because he was like, and again, I respect the logic behind it. Although I still
Yes.
respect the logic behind my mom's trying to be
Yeah.
the one who's more, again, more active, more like I guess louder, and trying to make again like things shake. I respect that as well because again I understand the logic, and I don't know where I am, to be honest, in between my mom and
Do
dad.
you and politically wise, do you lean left and right? Then do you find yourself swinging between both camps?
To be honest,
depending on
I don't know because this is actually I think the whole like left right it's a bit outdated because I'm not
no, that makes sense to me.
yeah I
I'd have
because
to agree with that.
in some respects I think like economically left for sure, but to an extent because again like I still there are still things that I have like conservative views about.
Right.
Not to say again, I'm not talking about conservative. I'm talking about Labour and Tory. I'm talking about
Yeah, yeah.
conservative as in what conservative means by definition.
Yes.
So that's why I think the whole thing is like extinct because now even if you're looking at the political spectrum is like the some left is kind of like central left and then some left is like towards the far left and then you have the right that's actually center and then the right that's actually far well not even far because that thing is not far the whatever people call that now far left is not far left enough to be far. I think like if you're being honest it's not far left enough to be
Right.
like oh these guys are commies again I think it's on the way but they are not there. And it's the same way when you go like, oh, far right. That's not far right. Like again, if you're taking the definition
Yeah.
and you look at the practice, that's not far right.
And do you vote in local elections? And
I do sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
do. But I think, to be honest, in the last few years, I kind of no, I didn't give up.
So I
but
think I'm going to stop.
yeah, I think
I don't know enough about it to
And-
make it. And the fact that I'm being asked to make a decision on all of these people's future, that shouldn't come down to me. The only university I went to was skydiving university. Right? Ask me about decisions about skydiving from 12 years ago when I was doing it. I can give you an opinion.
Yeah, but I
But
think
don't ask me. You've got to pick this counsellor. Have I? What do I know? They all seem dodgy to me.
well, this is the
They
thing.
haven't fixed the road. The guy came round my
Yeah.
house, right? He knocked on the door and he went, "Hey, I'm after your support." And I went, "What do you want?" And he went, "I want you to vote for me." And I went, "I'll vote for you if you promise to fix my road." And he went, "I'll do that." And I went, "Okay, I'll vote for
Cool.
you then." And I voted for him,
And he's not fixed.
right? He's not fixed
Yeah.
it. That was 2.5 years ago. And I will never, ever vote for that party ever again.
You know,
And one of the guys, a friend of mine is like he looks after the North constituency and she's a comedy promoter and she looks after the South constituency. And I saw her about a year ago and I went, "Do you know this guy?" And she went, "Yeah, I work really close with him, really nice guy." And I went, "You tell him from me he's a liar." I went, "He said he was going to do this and he didn't do it." And she went, "Yeah, but what you don't understand." I went, No. He said he was going to
He's doing
fix
it,
something.
yeah.
He didn't fix it. So far in tyres on my car, that's cost me £450, right? Because I've blown 2 tyres because of the state of the roads. If it was up to me, I would get a whip round from the whole street, right? So there's a street of, say there's 100 houses.
yeah.
If we all put in £100, what's that? Is that £100,000?
From 100 houses.
Yeah. Is that 100,000? Or,
No,
or is that 10 grand?
10,
Okay,
yeah.
that's 10 grand. I can get some people round with who will nick a tar truck and they
Yeah.
will tar the road for us for 5 grand. Why don't I just do that and then just write to the poll tax or the council tax people and go, "Yeah, I'm not, just so you know, I've taken 100 quid off this month. We fixed the road ourselves." It's so infuriating. So yeah, I don't think I should be asked to judge because I picked him because he made me a promise that he didn't
Yeah.
keep. And to me, now he owes me. I'm a bit like your dad in a respect. He owes. And if he ever comes around my house again, I will probably end up ranting and raving at him and calling him a liar. And he'll stay away from my street for forever. 'Cause I'm 4'11". When I lose my rag, I lose my rag. Right? He's gonna cop it.
But you see, this is the thing though, because it's like, and again, like I get it, because it's like, oh, politics, it's like a likability contest, which is fair enough. But then I also like I feel, but I also, you know, the way I feel is that I don't, and I've seen this quote. Oh my god, a couple of months ago, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm on board with this. Basically, the quote was saying that, you know, if you are being loyal to a party, that you're not being loyal to your country, because you should have like,
Okay.
because it's basically based on the fact that you shouldn't live a life where you're like, oh, I'm like a hardcore labor guy, like I'm a
Yeah.
hardcore conservative guy, I'm gonna die being. No, you should be like, again, you're British, that's what you are, and you should look basically, it's kind of like you should look out for yourself and for your country first, rather than, oh, I'm just going, because it's almost like football teams, but not so much, because again, like if you support a football team, that doesn't change the course of history as much it can
Yeah.
as much as a bad government can change.
But now I don't. Yeah, I don't. I personally, I can't subscribe to any of that for the simple reason I can't affect any change whatsoever. So
Yeah.
all I can do is I can keep my wife happy by staying sober and by being a good husband.
Yeah.
And by being a good husband, it's not always easy, but it's a lot easier now I'm sober.
Yeah.
So that's all I can do. I'll just do that. I'll be nice to people until I lose I've got an awful temper that sometimes comes out. But yeah, most of the time I'm just going to try and be nice. That's all I can do. I can only affect things at my level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair enough, because again, like you said, it's almost like, you know, it's about like whatever you do to. I mean, I don't even know. I don't. This is the thing. I sometimes feel like when people go, "Oh, it's about like what you, the thing that you're setting for the generations." I'm like, look, it sounds nice, but like I'm more about like, or like I also understand the people who are like, no, I'm just gonna look after my
Yeah,
current generation. Like I'm, you know, because it's almost like
I worry about kids in like 4 generations time.
Yeah, and
the same way the 4 generations ago weren't thinking about me.
I mean, it's the same.
Or maybe they were.
You know, when, because Soccer Aid happened like a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
And then like that's the kind of thing where I'm like, you know, you're asking people who are, which especially like this time in the country, like I've never struggled financially as much as I struggled in the last couple of years.
Right.
You know, like I've never been in the financial difficulties and having to like kind of like, you know, I get the electricity bill and I'm like, fucking hell, how much? You know?
Yeah.
Like I've never been in this situation. And again, it might show perhaps again, I know there were other times in the past where the economy wasn't great. But I'm just saying this is the first time when it happened
that
to
you're
me.
feeling it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what am I trying to go with this? Yeah, I'm trying to basically say that I have to, again, like now you go, oh, you know, you should donate £20 to, you know, to the Soccer Aid, because, you know, you have these guys who have, again, I know we had the conversation about like hating millionaires. I'm not saying that I hate it, but I'm like, you know what, how about this? How about you pay me, or like not even pay me, you offer me to play at Old Trafford, and then you donate money to me.
£5 donation.
Yeah, and then you donate the money. You know, because like this is the thing. Now it's kind of like you're asking people who do have the money to play football, while the people who don't have the money
I
have to pay for it.
I'm with you completely.
While again, I think
No, I'm with you completely. Because I'm completely anti-charity, right? And my wife's like, you can't say you're anti-charity. I'm like, yeah, I can, right? So if I can help it, I won't give to charity.
Yeah.
Because to me, that is a failure of government. That really is, right? Because if we are in the 8th richest country on the planet. What? And we need a charity to help people who served in the military. So Help Heroes is a great one, right? We are failing those people if we're begging for money to help them.
Yeah.
We're doing something wrong. So yeah, now my money goes directly to. So there's a guy who gets on the tube when I go home at night after a gig, and he basically walks up and down the tube and he begs for money.
Yeah.
And that must be awful for him, right?
Yeah.
And I rarely have cash, but if I've ever got cash, he gets all of it. right? And I'm just like, here, mate, have this. It's all
Yeah.
I've got.
Yeah.
You can have it. Or if someone gives me like sometimes you get paid in cash, don't you? Right?
Yeah.
And then basically straight away that goes in a pot, so I can't touch it but I'll always keep a tenner in my wallet.
Yeah.
And if I see the guy on the tube,
Yeah.
and he's like, yeah, I'm going to use it for a hostel. No, you're not, mate. It's just people who are upset if you go, hi, I need it for drugs.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he can't be honest. Because
Yeah.
of course he needs it for drugs because he's living on the street, for God's sake. But yeah, you're like, mate, I'd rather give it to him than a registered charity where, cancer research, where the
Yeah.
CEO gets, 100 grand a year, or whatever.
That as well, and it's kind of like, oh, we need again, because this is the thing where I understand and I see why again you have to operate on because I think even when I think like when I do the videos to like cut for the podcast, when I do the thing, you have to kind of like you to make like a calling for the emotional brain, where you have to be like, we need like you have to listen to this because it's that sort of cycle. But then I also feel like I think it would be better when people actually would actually understand that that's how things work. Like when you get those like, oh, we need you now more than ever, and I'm like, man, like again with all due, like I'd like to think I have a lot of love for a lot of people, and I wish for everyone and everything to go well and sound. But I remember in September I had 85 pence left on my overdraft.
Where's the levy charity?
Yeah. This is the kind of stuff where I'm
I
like,
can play football charity, soccer aid. I'm over here.
and I don't feel like again. I personally don't think it's not fair to call people out with like, oh, because then you have this argument of like, oh, you don't care about again, like whatever happens, like you don't care about this thing that's it's meaningful. I'm like, no, I agree it's meaningful. I just say that I don't have the means to care.
Yeah.
Yes. Like my heart goes to it,
Yeah, my heart goes to it, but my wallet can't.
Yeah.
Think of the side of history though. So I grew up, we had a thing called Live Aid. And basically there was famine in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Bob Geldof said, we got to fix this. And basically a load of musicians got together and they had a concert. And I was 13, 14, and it was amazing, right? It was absolutely, it changed the world, right? It genuinely changed the world. Think about that now from the Ethiopians' point of view. So they're like, hang on, we were starving and you all had a sing-song. Hang on, what? Hang on, why didn't you just come and help us? And they're like, well, we had a sing-song.
Yeah.
But what did your governments do? They watched us have a sing-song. It was great. You should have been there. Oh, you couldn't be there, could you? Because you were all dying. It was all,
You see, this is what I'm like again.
We've got it wrong somehow,
and
I don't know how you fix it, and that is why I can't engage with what's going on in the news because it is genuinely. I'm just not mentally strong enough. It's as simple as that, right? I can't get involved. I can't even. I don't even watch the news anymore. I switch it off when it comes on the radio.
Yeah.
I'm up for silly or interesting.
Yeah.
But as for the news, I'm out, mate. I'm done.
I mean, this is the thing where it's like, because I think it's a bit of we talk especially in these days, it's this conversation of the mental, like looking after like people's like mental well-being and looking after one's, we talked about like toxic behavior.
Yeah.
And I would arguably say again, when you're trying to dig for someone's emotional energy and well-being because of the sort of like, oh, you're the one who has to change this, you're the one who has to do this, when that's not true.
Make a difference.
When that's not true. And I'm like, again, like I'm like, sorry, my thing is, we're like, I think now we got to the site like we're anti-gaslighting. We're like, let's stop gaslighting each other. Let's stop gaslighting people. But then in the other hand, it's like, oh, but it's okay if it's done in this way. And I'm pretty much like, but that's all I'm saying is, it's kind of, again, like just lay it out as it is and let people decide what they want. But from not because you're, again, because that's the thing is, and I get it. I understand that the emotional brain is the one that you want to go for every time you want something from someone. You've got to go
and
for
you've got to plug into that.
Yeah, you got to plug into that. Again, I understand the logic.
Especially as a comic, right? Because laughter is, you're putting out an emotion out there, right?
Well, you see, again, in any
And you got to pull on them to.
exactly, absolutely any sort of industry, but at least I feel like with comedy, it's like that that's what you're doing, and it's almost like that's one of those like the agreement, the verb, the non-signed agreement that you have with an audience, but they know that they go there because they want to have that like emotional brain tickled,
Yeah.
But then again, whenever you're trying to again like hijack absolutely anything and then still push it onto that emotional side, and you're like, you must do this, you are the one. No, you're not, and that's okay. That it's okay not to be able to change the world. Like none. I mean, this is the thing. The reality is, I don't think neither of us is gonna be able to fix the world,
God no, not even close.
and that's
Yeah.
okay.
But you can help your partner, right?
Yeah,
you can be
exactly.
you can be a
You could
good
be a good
supportive partner.
hus- yeah.
by, making sure your candles are the right color. I mean, because
No, that's
that's important.
passion. It's house passion. Yeah,
that's the aesthetic.
yeah, it's aesthetic. Yeah, that's
But
it.
I can look after these people in my pizza box.
Yeah,
For me,
yeah,
everything
yeah,
comes
yeah.
back to how we look at pizza. I can look after these people in my sphere. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
and-
it. Good luck, everyone else.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry the world is shit, and it is. It sounds pretty shit out there.
yeah.
But then the left people, I find the left leaners are worse than the right leaners. So I've got a mate of mine who's reasonably right wing, right? He's a 65-year-old bloke. We grew up together in some respect. Like he's 10 years older than me. But yeah, I've known him for like 30, 40 years, and he leans to the right.
Yeah.
And then I've got other people who I've known just as long, and they lean to the left. And their beliefs are much worse in terms of they're like, well, if you don't agree with me, you're wrong, and that's unacceptable. Whereas the right guy is like, this is just what I believe. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay. And I don't agree with him at all. Right? And I'm like, I think that's bullshit. And he went, oh, yeah, I'm not asking you to subscribe to my theory. This is just my theory. Whereas the left people are like, well, if you don't subscribe to what I'm saying, and I'm generalizing, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm talking about my mates, back to the grammar Nazis. And they're like, yeah, if you're, if you don't agree with this, that makes you wrong. Well, what happens to those grey areas?
Yeah.
There's never, it's never black and white.
And
it's always grey. There's a good reason why that guy probably didn't fix the road, right? But for me,
that's enough to be like, no,
he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are probably loads of grey areas there. But then it comes down to, you're a dickhead, mate.
But at least, I think
he shouldn't have said he was going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, look,
that really,
I'll try.
It sticks in my throat.
Which no, it makes sense because again, you're more consumed about things that are happening and that are impacting you directly than something that doesn't impact you directly. But then the thing is with again, that's why I feel like the whole like left to right thing, it needs to be again. We probably need to look at something else. It's because it's quite old. It's an old school. I know it was like after the French Revolution that it got integrated. Where now I think because again this is the thing. Like you've changed. I don't know. Freaking like religions changed denomination and changed the lifestyles. Look, we have to change the lifestyles as human beings. I think politics are also something that doesn't age. Like it's been done. And now it cannot be touched in a different direction, or it can't be done in a different way. And then I also agree with the bit of like the left and right. Although again, historically, if you look at history, you can see times in history when the traditional right was the one who was actually, if you don't agree with me, you're wrong and you're fucked.
You're going to prison.
But now the thing is now again, like I agree now, he went on to the left side, which but then this is the thing, growing up in a post-communist country, I'm also like, it's dangerous because you get people, because again we're meant to be here together, we're meant to be in all this all in together, and then but then if I don't agree with you, then we're not in it together anymore. And it's like
where's my opinion?
And it's like, everybody has to be equal. But then the thing is, again, like you see the values that are based into like whatever is like the left leaning, and that's why you can see again some things I'm for, and some things I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. But then some of the other things are like everyone to be equal, or in the respects of like governing power.
We can't.
But that you can't do that because like name a country with two presidents. You know, like name a again. Look, name a city that has two mayors and it's a successful city. You know, name a city where everybody is the mayor and everybody is a country where everybody is the president. That's not how it works. You can't. Again, you have to build your ideologies. Again, that's my opinion. In the respect of what is realistic. You can't, because this is the thing with socialism or not. Well,
or just because just don't get involved.
or that,
Because,
yeah,
and
yeah,
accept your fate.
yeah.
Because it's probably going to happen anyway, right? So me being against, I don't whatever is there's bad stuff going on. I'm guessing
Yeah.
we're almost close to World War III. Is the vibe I'm getting from people?
I don't know why. The opposite of yeah.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
I grew up right. So I was born in 1971, and in about the Cold War was at the height in about 1982.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's going to be a nuclear war. And I'm like, wow. And this is how serious it got. At the end of my street, and I'm from East London, at the end of my street was a nuclear fallout shelter. It's round the corner from where your flat is.
Shit.
Right? It's called the Secret Nuclear Shelter. There's a couple of them around here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we grew up by that.
Yeah.
But I'd worked out in my head, because there were films on TV at the time about nuclear wars and what was going to happen. And they were scary, right?
Yeah.
Really scary. But I'd worked out that if a nuclear bomb went off, basically the way the fire covered the land, there was a ditch at the end of our garden. And I was like, I'll just get in the ditch. Because then the fire will go over me. A bit like in Arnold Schwarzenegger True Lies, where the fire goes over the water and you see Schwarzenegger. I'll be that guy, and then I'll come out afterwards and I'll be the righteous crusader who's going to fix the world. And I'd worked it. I was like 12, and I was like,
Yeah, like that's it.
bring it on.
Yeah.
And when I saw Judgment Day and Terminator, I'm like, bring it on.
But you see, this is
I'm up for that. I'm all up for fighting the machines. Whereas now I'm like, oh, it seems a lot of effort.
but this is I mean, honestly, sometimes coming back to even the World War III, when you kind of like, again, you look a little bit, you know, like you have this history, things that have happened, and then you kind of like zoom out a little bit, and you're like, again, like, yeah, now we're but then we were in the brink of the World War III, even more recently when Russia, invaded Ukraine. Then
it didn't happen.
Then we were in the brink of it after the crisis 2008, because I think something happened.
Didn't happen, yeah, financial crisis.
And but then after the financial crisis, I remember there was some tension between some countries. Oh yeah, at least I remember in Romania talking about how, you know, after the Gaddafi regime and then the Egypt one got thrown out, then there was the fight to power. And then there were rumors that basically now there was the rumors that if Islamist kind of like, you know, power would take over those countries, then that would start a world war, because America
everything's going to start a world war.
Again, in one hand you're kind of like, oh, that's a bit shit, but then I also like, in the other hand, because I know it from personal experience, and I speak with my partner a lot, because again, like for the last year and a half, I've been quite like, again, it affected me a lot, you know, it like the things
following the news,
just following the news,
the whole World War III thing.
Yeah, and then now it's just,
I mean, how close are we? Like, if it was on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is no nuclear war and 10 is Judgment Day. How close are we now, in your opinion?
I honestly,
to a layman like me who doesn't
5 or 6.
But
I think we're always, I don't think we're ever, I don't think we're ever gonna be. I mean, this thing, I personally don't think we will ever be in a time when there will be no risk for anything. But then also, I don't think there is gonna be it's actually something really terrible on a worldwide scale is gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's just the way it is. You know, it's kind of like with when people go like energy levels. Like, I don't think you're at 100. You're never at 100, but you're kind of like, you know, between like 50 and 70, and you're just going between that. It's like a heart rate. You know, you can't just go up, or just. I think
people run out.
Yeah, it's gonna be, because like that's the thing. You know, look at, I don't know, something wrong will happen constantly. Things are meant to go wrong. You know.
Yeah.
So then that's the thing now, when especially actually speaking to you, I'm like, you know what, because the more I think about it, and I was like, yeah, you know, it's quite fucked up, like whatever happened. But then I'm like, it's it even if it is, it's kind of
What can you
it's
do to
sad.
stop it?
Yeah,
So you might as
yeah.
well just carry on living a good life, right?
And-
And have you stopped watching the news?
yeah. I
Like,
think
do you put in a conscious effort to not
yeah,
watch the news?
yeah, I do. And then even like I think on social media, I still again like I'm still like say subscribe to like news pages, but I usually just kind of just go through.
Oh, okay.
Like if I see like a news bit, unless I see say like some like parody stuff, which I still love, and I love the mocking. But then also like one of the things I found is even when if I do say engage with a piece of content where it's like, oh, here is something that happened, I don't take it for granted.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Like even if someone say
Yeah.
like this happened, I'm like
Did it?
again not in a conspiracy way, but I'm
Yeah.
more like I guess again that's your point, you know, because I that's your point of view, or like that you because I you know it's like one of those things like, oh, do you believe this thing happened? And I'm like, no, I believe you believe it happened. Like I believe you know
I believe you believe the world is flat.
yeah, but
can't
I
subscribe to that.
yeah,
But I did a.
and I don't care. Like that's the thing. You do it.
You do
fun,
your
man.
thing.
Yeah.
I got taught a beautiful thing a few years ago. So I did this podcast called Discussing Documentaries that we set up during
Yeah.
lockdown. And on one of them, we talked about a guy called John McAfee. Now, John McAfee created the antivirus software McAfee
Yeah,
Antivirus,
yeah.
right? Anyway, he got all of that money, and if you watch the documentary, like he went nuts. I don't think he went nuts, but it by the by. But basically, they put out rumors that he was into scatology. So scatology is like when you're fascinated by poo, right? So he used to have women poo on him, right? And that was the rumors floating around. Now, a friend of mine who was in comedy, he trains kink. So if you're into kinky stuff, he'll train it.
No way.
So I watched this documentary and I'm like, well, that's a kink, right? If you're into
Yeah.
scatology. So I phoned him up and I went, hey, I need your help. Can you teach me about scatology and people pooing on each other and weeing on each other? And he went, yeah, sure. What do you need to know? And I'm like, well, for a start, that's disgusting, isn't it? And he went, he goes, here's the thing about the kink world. And he goes, this will stand you in good stead. The rule is you don't yuck on somebody's yum. So if somebody finds that delicious, as long as you're not hurting animals and children,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But if you're into having people poo on you, who's that hurting? And if that's your thing and that's their thing, that's what the internet was invented for, to get them people together, right? So yeah, let them get on with it. I forget where I raised that point, but that's I just don't yuck on someone's yum now if I can help it. If they're into that, I'm like, oh, that's your thing, is it? Okay, good for you. No, I don't believe in that at all.
I mean, look,
but good for you that you do. I'm happy for you.
well, you see, and also this is the thing where sometimes one of the things I've seen is like now when you have like even like comedians, musicians, footballers, and people go like, oh, because someone's like again like good at comedy, then everything that they do or say is the right way to do.
Got relevance.
Yeah, it's got relevance, and I'm like, no, it doesn't. And it's the same with the antivirus guys. Like, you know what? I love antiviruses. I know I'm very grateful for what he's done.
He done some great work.
Yeah, but then that doesn't mean that he's either right, or it doesn't mean that now because of this. Although again, I personally think, yuck. But
sure,
ultimately, again, it doesn't.
Who are you to say that that's horrible?
Yeah, but then also, I think the main thing is yeah. Again, it's still you look at like, look, he's brought something into society which was needed. He's helped out. Again, I wouldn't take advice, in the bedroom from him. I don't think I would read his, book on like how.
But we don't even know if it's true.
Oh, right.
So
that's just a rumor.
Yeah, it was a rumor
based on.
But years ago, I watched that.
I mean, I did watch the 2 Girl 1 Cup when he was like, where everyone watched it.
That.
No way.
What is 2 Girls 1 Cup?
Oh man, it was crazy. It was like when it was basically those 2 girls who were just like shitting on each other, and
okay,
yeah, that's it. And I think
why was there
at
only
one point because they were like shitting in a cup, and then which actually is quite weird because actually you'd think that you just shit on the other person, as in like but no, they were, and I think they were like eating their shit.
Okay,
yeah.
Here's what I learned: the way you do it, because obviously your poo's got lots of germs in it. Right?
Yeah,
really unhealthy, but it's also very healthy. Like, have you ever read The Martian?
No.
By Andy Weir. It's a Matt Damon film.
Yeah, the
where he
Matt
gets
Damon,
stuck-
yeah,
It's Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a bit where he has to get everyone's poo
yeah.
and to because it's great fertilizer.
You know, yeah, you use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used it.
But-
No, not human poo, but we use poo as fertilizer.
Yeah, absolutely right. But yeah, what you have to do is if you do want to poo and someone needs to eat it, basically you freeze it, right, and that kills all of the bad stuff in the poo, and then you put it back up your bum, and then you poo it out. That's what I learned. That's the danger of doing a podcast. You sometimes learn stuff that you
Holy
can't
shit.
unlearn.
Yeah.
I can't unlearn that now. That's why I like to share it around.
Thank you.
That's how. Thank you. You know what? You're welcome, Levin. 'Cause not everyone thanks me for when I tell them that. Some people are just ungrateful.
Yeah.
You're
Thank
a
you.
good.
Yeah, I don't know what I will do with this information. Yeah, I don't know what I will do with this information, but I'll.
But you've got it
Yeah.
now. If
Yeah, I
you
got
ever
it. Yeah,
need
yeah.
it,
Yeah, I am
I'll be in a
picturing.
pub quiz one day, and that could pop up as a question.
Yeah, like that's it.
Hang on, I know the answer to this. Yeah, I always wondered how they did it. But at what point does your life get to where you're like, you know what I want to try? I like sex. I like the missionary position. I like doggy. I like her on top. I like being on top. I like loads of different positions. I wonder what it'd be like to eat her poo.
Yeah.
How can you make that leap? Yeah, that to me is
Imagine
amazing.
going through like a Kama Sutra and just going like, where is the?
Yeah.
Where's the
What's
eat
number
shitting one?
155? Oh, okay. We're at this bit now.
I can
Okay.
imagine like the you know, because apparently, although actually this is one of the things I've never seen like an actual. I heard about Kama Sutra. I haven't seen the actual book, but I imagine because you know apparently it has pictures with every single position. Can you imagine like someone making a? Because that's also is a drawing. It's not like an actual. I think is or at least the original one. It was based on like drawings of people making out in those positions that are now in the Kama Sutra. So then I can imagine.
okay.
Can you imagine someone drawing someone else eating shit?
At the beginning of the Kama Sutra, was there like categories?
Yeah, just going like
Like Pornhub.
with
You had to go
feces,
through-
yeah. Feces involved, no feces, dry.
Could you redefine your search, please? But you'd have to go through all of that.
You know,
wouldn't
like
you?
you have a food recipe and it goes like now ingredients and now more like preparation, shit in a bag, freeze it.
We haven't even invented refrigeration yet. How do we do that?
That's why they are such visionaries.
Is that why?
Because they were like,
why we invented refrigeration?
yeah.
We could get into scatology.
yeah.
That was
They're
it.
probably like,
Everything feeds in because it's all every good thing will always lead to a bad thing, right? There's just but as long as you don't yuck, but that's the key takeaway, I guess, is what I'm saying. Don't yuck on somebody's yuck.
also, can you imagine if
Listen to that, kids.
can you imagine actually like if the NHS like someone goes to especially like you know when you're at the point where like again people struggle to get appointments and someone goes like I think I have an infection of some sort. It's like what happened? I was like I
Crazy.
ate something bad.
I didn't listen to the right.
Yeah, and I was like I didn't like they say to freeze it.
I couldn't wait.
Yeah,
I was just-
yeah, we didn't freeze it.
you know when you get carried away in the moment, and yeah, she was there, I was there.
Yeah, and it's like they said
Silly
put it in a bag and freeze it, and I was like, fuck this.
Who's got the time?
Yeah, I was like, I got good immunity.
I'm not
You know,
afraid.
yeah, I didn't get COVID. Everyone else did. I thought I'll be fine.
But there's sense in that, isn't there? Because you can take someone's fecal matter, can't you? Who you live with, if you've wiped out your gut bacteria,
Yeah,
and you transfer the fecal matter over, and it helps repopulate your gut because your gut is like your second brain. I learned so much useless information during lockdown. There was me and the cats were there watching YouTube quite a lot. Yeah. So yeah, they reckon your second brain is your stomach, and the biome in there is it biome? Whatever it is, the biodiversity in there is key to keeping your brain healthy, and that's
well, that I think that's actually because I was going to say since I started even like feeling better and controlling like my emotions and everything else in the last couple of years, diet has a big part to do, and like the supplements. No, I didn't quit sugar, but I moderated better. Or like again, I make sure that I take I do blood tests every year, and whatever I'm lacking of, I make sure that I supplement
that's a
it
great
with
idea.
actual supplements.
Yeah, okay.
Like even that's the thing. Like sometimes even if I like eat like shit, I still take my supplements in the morning so that I make sure that even if say like I don't eat the most nutritious food, I
Yeah.
still have whatever nutrients I need to get through the day. And you know what? It's been incredible.
I got hypnotized in. I've got addiction issues, and yeah, my addiction my whole life has always been sugar, and I got hypnotized to get off of weed, and that really helped.
No way.
And then I got hypnotized to get off of sugar, and it held for about 3 months, and then it failed. And then I went back to see the same guy in January. He's amazing. His name's Christoph Cortin, in Folkestone Hypnotherapy. And he said, okay, I'm going to try something different now because the last one didn't hold. And I don't know what he's done to program my brain. And he tells me I'm incredibly susceptible to hypnotism. But he's programmed my brain now that I used to love chocolate and I'd constantly think about chocolate. If I walked past the newsagent, I would go in and buy chocolate. And whenever I finished a gig, I would always have, I would get back to my car, eventually get back to my car, and I would have a a Magnum ice cream and a Whisper bar. And then if the voices popped up again in my head on the way home, and I can't shut them up, they're really powerful, I would stop and get another Whisper bar and another Magnum ice cream. And it was always a race to get home before the sugar crashed and I would pass out. Basically, I'd just fall into a sugar crash coma. But I don't know what he's done this time, but he's programmed my brain. And this happened last night, and I really realized it last night because my wife went, that looks gorgeous, doesn't it? And she pointed to an advert on TV for chocolate. And I went, no, that looks disgusting. And she went, what happened? I went, I don't know. Maybe it was the hypnosis. But moving away from sugar has helped me dramatically. And so much so, we've just come back from a 2-week holiday and it was all inclusive.
Nice.
And I ate sugar on that holiday.
Right.
But I still stayed away from chocolate, which that's alien to me that I'm staying away from chocolate. I find that so strange. But then when I came back from holiday, I went straight back to almost no sugar.
No sugar.
So I have a little bit of fruit now.
Yeah.
But that's about it. And I genuinely feel a lot happier without sugar. And when I first started going to AA meetings, I noticed we're all talking about how that's my...
Oh, good.
We've quit alcohol and et cetera, and how much better we all felt. Yeah, we'd all be tucking into cups of tea with sugar. There was always chocolate snacks in the center. There was always biscuits, and me and these other people were just demolishing the sugar because there's a lot of sugar in alcohol, and it's so addictive.
Yeah,
it's just, So I must admit, what's helped my brain is quitting sugar, and I haven't completely quit sugar. I think that's almost. I don't know if that's impossible, but I think.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard. It's really much harder, I think, than anything, because it's in everything.
It's easy to quit booze, right? Especially being a comic, because I build into my journey that I have to drive, and I won't drink and drive.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm like, well, I can't drink.
Yeah.
And whenever I want to drink, I'm like, well, I'll get drunk tomorrow.
Yeah.
And make it through today, right? Again,
yeah.
For today, but chocolate, that's everywhere. You avoid chocolate. But when the mums say, don't put the chocolate near the checkout because my child would want the chocolate. Yeah, of course they want the chocolate's gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
Sugar is amazing. It's plugged into your brain. And of course you're going to grab it straight away. It's really hard to avoid. You can avoid booze. You can.
Yeah.
Don't go into pubs.
Yeah.
Don't have alcohol in the house, right?
Yeah.
But to avoid chocolate, that's significant. Or to avoid sugar, sorry, that is significantly harder. Why? Because we've put it in everything.
Yeah, and I think even the measures and everything, it's much easier to talk yourself out, because I feel the same with with alcohol. It's kind of, again, I think it's a much bigger leap to make to go back to drinking. Even like, because I think even, for example, like with smoking, it's although again I would say it's as big, but it's slightly bigger, because it requires some extra steps. and it requires a big bit. Like for example, I'll go with to the alcohol one because I think it's better. Like for example, again with alcohol, say if you want to go and drink again, and now you like said, your house is clean, you don't have any alcohol in
Yeah.
your house, but still, like you gotta get changed, put your shoes on,
Yeah.
get out, go to the shop. Now, perhaps if the shop that it's like even sometimes I think it's the perception of like the guys at this shop, they know me, that they know that I don't drink, or that
Yeah.
they might, and I don't want to be weird and start like drinking there. So now I need to walk even further to get and then after that, it's like
Effort keeps you
yeah,
sober.
and now you're like you start drinking, then it's just, I was like, oh fuck, like this is again, I mean, I even notice now, for example, when I see like even people at service on Saturdays and stuff, like they drink wine when we do like something called kiddush. I take the and I smell.
Service. Sorry.
It's service, like a synagogue service. When I go to
Oh,
the
okay.
synagogue, they drink wine, and then sometimes I'm the one who actually fills up the wine glasses and stuff, and I'm like, this smells horrible, because
Yeah.
like when I have like I drink alcohol-free beer, which I like, but then I had I had another like a few friends, and I made some cocktails once. 'Cause I used to be a bartender, so I knew I just was like, oh, let me show you something cool, and I smelled this like tequila, and I was like, oh, this is fucking, like once you don't go like, oh, I want to drink this because the drinking is cool, or like it makes
Yeah,
me
yeah.
feel better, like this is shit.
Yeah.
Like, because I think it happens with some types of beers as well. Like now, I feel like when I used to drink, I drink whatever, like whatever would go through in the pint glass, I will have it. Now with alcohol-free beer, I am very picky.
Because it's about
Because
flavor,
yeah,
not effect.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
now I'm like, you know what, this tastes like rubbish. This I
Yeah.
like. This I don't like. Like, how can someone drink this? And then again, that's the sort of my mentality, and also I think the comeback from it, because with drinking, then if you started, then you have to kind of like go through a much harder set of regulations or like things to do so that you don't relapse again.
Yeah.
While with chocolate, it's kind of like you go, "Oh, it's chocolate
It's
bar."
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, like you just go, you go past and like you get a meal deal, and you're like, you know what, the drink is already £2, might as well get a sandwich and a and a snack and make it £3.50, because you like it's worth. And then you're like, oh, I'll
That's,
get it. And
that-
that's what I'm saying. And also, like, people don't go like, although again, it doesn't shouldn't necessarily matter what people think, but I'm just saying that like, no, you wouldn't think that, oh, anybody goes like, oh, look at that fucking weirdo, he's got like so much Cadbury's, dairy milk in his bag. Nobody's gonna like, if you go,
you're
he's
not
got,
judged as much.
yeah,
as
yeah,
you
they're
would
like, oh, he's
know.
got a celebration box, I bet he's gonna eat it on his own. Nobody, or like,
Yeah,
it doesn't
maybe we
matter
should.
that much.
Maybe shame works for a little bit. Maybe shame would work. Maybe we need a bit more shame.
Yeah, we were just talking about like the gaslighting and like
Yeah.
not
Maybe we should
alienating
bring
everyone.
that back.
Yeah, let's bring it back. Let's
It'd be
bring it
good
back.
for your diabetes. It'd be good for your waistline. So what do you do to keep your brain healthy?
What do I do to keep my
What
brain
would say your top 3 things that you would recommend to other people then?
I allow myself to have like comfort. Like you say, like I watch the same TV shows over and over again.
Okay, right.
I write.
Okay, that's quite a good suggestion. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just because again, because I do feel like I have, and I also like I acknowledge. I think the biggest one is acknowledging how I feel every time.
So when you're feeling low,
That would probably be
you
the,
go,
yeah, that
"I'm
would be the
feeling
first
low."
one. Like, yeah, I'm feeling low.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like
You'll say that to yourself. "Oh,
yeah,
I'm feeling low.
like I feel, but then you see, because actually it's something that we talked, you mentioned earlier, and I wanted to talk about it, or like to tell you about it. Was the thing with like, even when you get a diagnosis, or when you're like, oh, I'm an alcoholic, or I'm an addict, it's not use it as as an excuse. You use it as as almost, I want to say, like, even like as a fact, and like as an almost like an endearment, is that the right word? Like something that you like, you acknowledge it,
Yeah.
and you're gonna try and work with it. You're not gonna say like, I don't have a drink because I'm an addict. I will avoid having that drink because I'm an addict.
Because that.
Or it's the same, like, look, I know that I'm temperamental. I will control my emotions because I'm temperamental. I'm
Right,
not gonna
okay.
give in
Yeah.
to that. Like that's because this is the thing where I know I heard with a lot of people when they're like, oh, I don't want to get like a diagnose, or like I don't want to do this because I don't want to have that sort of like label and to have
Yeah.
that sort of. And I'm like, actually, to me, it was quite the opposite. When I got the diagnosis, I was like, oh, at least now I have an answer. Like I know why I'm so emotional.
Yeah.
I know why I do the certain things that I do. So anyway, coming back to the three things, yeah, I think acknowledging is a huge one,
Acknowledge.
and also
Sure.
using it as a again in a way that gives you power. Because like now, if again I know that I'm like emotionally unstable, then that means that I have to be more powerful to control those emotions.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And then that's how I would think about it. Like I want to send that like strongly worded email, but I won't. I could, but I don't want to.
Okay.
It's almost like one of the analogies that my therapist, when we were doing DBT, it was like, almost when you have like talking about like Third World War, there is a red button, and that's like world destruction, and you can just lift up the little cover and press it,
Yeah.
but you choose not to press it, and then that.
My personality is I've already pressed it by the time I realize I shouldn't have pressed it.
No, but you see that's the
Yeah.
thing. Now you again, because you kind of like the work is to get to the point where
Yes.
you are in charge of all those
Yeah.
actions. So even if you walk towards the button, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna press it.
Yeah.
And actually that actually the name was the fuck it button. So it's you have
Yeah,
to look
that's
in front of
powerful.
you, and you have to be like, this is the fuck it button. So you can press the fuck it button, but then you have to acknowledge that whatever repercussions
Yeah.
come, you are responsible because you press the button.
I pressed the fuck it button on my life about 2 months ago, and I blew up my life, my professional life,
Right.
really badly. I genuinely got a lot of shame around what I did, and it took me about 2 days to calm down. I
Yeah.
couldn't see how wrong I was, and I don't know why I did it. And then when I kind of realized what an idiot I was, and I went in and I fixed it, and it was really difficult to fix. And luckily, like the people I'm working with, the team I'm in, were incredibly forgiving. Luckily for me, and they were very understanding. Right, they were very emotionally intelligent. Whereas for a moment there, I checked out of all my emotional intelligence completely, and I blew up my professional life. And then when I got to, it was like a week later, and I started thinking about it. I couldn't work out how I got to the pushing the big red button.
Yeah.
I couldn't work out how or why and why I would do that. Because the two guys I work with, who I was really mean to, I adore them. I genuinely do. I hold them in very high regard professionally and as people. They are flawed individuals, and I love them for that. Right.
Yeah.
But I'd blown the whole thing up. And I was sitting there going, how did I do that? And one of them's like super smart, right? He talks about therapy all the time.
Yeah.
And he was talking to me about it. And I'm like, I don't get how I got to there. And he went, you want to get to a point where you don't get to there. And I'm like, I don't even know how I got to there. And then suddenly I was on the other side of being there.
Yeah.
So I'd blown up my life. And then suddenly and it was like that was a different human being. And it was almost like I was a blackout drunk again.
Yeah.
Like, my God, how did I do that? I've put so much work in. I've had so much therapy. I've done so much good to improve me. And then I just revert back to being a bloody drunk. And it's so to hang on to your emotions and to control them. I think it's easy to talk about, but in real life, sometimes for me, it goes out the window and I will blow up everything. And I don't know why I do that. So that's why I'm asking you, what are your top three things? And recognizing you're like,
but
I'm
yes,
not in a good place here. Hang on.
in this situation, I think even because this is another thing which maybe, well, like at least in my case, I can think it would help me out a lot, is the thinking of realizing when you have like what's it called when you have like things that are making you like a little weaker, no liability.
No, I'm not. I'm not with you.
So, for example, like when say like you wake up in the morning and you're like, no, I'm a bit tired today, or
Yeah.
like say like, because look, for example, like I used to have like back pain problem. I'm like, fuck, my back is killing me. So now I'm gonna get pissed off much quicker.
So you reckon?
So yeah, I recognize
Yeah.
the things that might then make my life harder. Like for example, look, allergy season. For the last month, actually, it was a nightmare. Like I had to take like allergy medication. I think even like today before you came in, I was just like sleeping on the sofa because I took the allergy meds in the morning. You know, because it just like knocks me out, and I was like, why the fuck am I so tired? And I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
So then,
okay.
but then
Yeah,
that's the thing. Now it almost like when I wake up, I make a imaginary list of like the things that, not the things again, it's not the anxiety, things that could go wrong. It's just things that like I do a body scan.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what, my
okay.
head hurts a
You've
bit.
got a checklist.
Yeah, like my nose, it's quite stuffy, and like, look, I mean, I'm actually telling you, like, I have a spot in my, I have like in like a spot in my right nostril that I can't like pop, and it just fucking
Bet
hurts
that
so
hurts.
much.
Yeah, that hurts
And
a lot.
you know, like even yesterday, I was in my day job, and I was speaking with this very annoying customer, and I was like, I wish I could just like throw him like out of the store. Like I wish if I could, I would like, you know, and then I'm like, ah, why am I so fucking angry? Like, oh, the nose, man. Like the fucking nose is itching so much, you know, because I'm like in central London. The fucking dust is everywhere,
Yeah.
cars everywhere, people everywhere.
Overloaded with
Yeah.
information.
And I was like,
Yeah.
this is why I'm so irritable.
Yeah.
But then again, because you almost like, I started in the morning, and this is also another, again, like a shift from, say, like, a few years ago, I would wake up and I'd be like, oh, you know, my back is fucked. I'm just gonna have a miserable day for the rest of the day. That's what I'm saying. That there is a fine line between starting getting anxious and just acknowledging. Because if
Yeah.
I just acknowledge that, you know what, again, like, yeah, my back hurts, that might
It might affect my
affect
day.
my day.
But what can I do to help my
Not
back
even
out?
no. It's not even
You don't
about
even
what
go-
you do. No. Because again,
You don't
now
try and fix
because
it.
you're going too far. Like, that's the thing, and
Right, okay.
that's where
Yeah,
the
yeah.
anxiety can. You're just like, no, my back hurts. It's like, fine, I know that my back hurts.
Right.
You know, like I'm standing up and I'm like, you know what, those shoes hurt. I change my shoes before I,
If
you know, I
don't
go,
like your life,
yeah,
you
if
can
you,
change it.
yeah, you know, like, but then this is the thing, it's almost just acknowledging. So then again, and again, obviously, like I know there are layers and layers, and I don't think there is, and also, you know, the other hand, I feel like I want to say that, you know, this is the thing, things are, even if something happens and it has consequences, it's still about what you do next, because I think this is again a bigger difference. That's why I talk about, like, and I spoke with other people on the podcast who were like talking about like relapsing, and I was like, you know what, it can happen, that's fine. It's just about what do you do now,
Yeah.
you know, to get back into
That's
it.
beautiful.
So you see
Yeah.
that this is the thing now, because I think sometimes
How do I get back on the wagon?
and
How
so-
do I get back into happiness?
into happiness, and
Yeah.
also like, you
Or
look at,
contentment rather than happiness.
or and sometimes like in this situation you can be like, oh, you know what, I fucked up, that's it, it's all done, I'm giving up, you know, on like work or whatever it is. And then you're like, no, again, like, okay, fine, I fucked up, fair enough.
What do I do to fix it?
If I have to eat some shit for it, I'll eat some shit for it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what do I do? And I think, look, for example, even a couple of weeks ago, I had a former white supremacist. I had Arno Michelis, who is an ex neo-Nazi.
Right.
And then if he like basically had this thing where it's like, if I can like forgive myself, and if I can wake up and think like, you know what, I still think about what I've done, and I'm sorry for what I've done, and I'm trying to make things right,
Yeah.
then why can't you?
Okay, that's quite powerful.
You know, like, why wouldn't, like, because again, like, why wouldn't you give yourself a second chance? Why wouldn't you,
Yeah.
you know, allow yourself to be like, you know, okay, fine, like, I'm not, again, proud. I don't think there isn't one single person in this world that can be like, no, I'm proud for everything I've ever done. If they say that, that's a lie.
Yeah. They are disillusioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's either a lie or they are disillusioned. Like, it's either they are willingly lying, or they are so out of touch
Yeah.
that they actually believe in that.
Or they're one of those babies before we eat them.
Yeah,
'Cause they haven't done much
That
wrong.
they haven't done much
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. But you see, that's the thing. Yeah, again, if someone, and again, obviously, again, it's quite a a big reach. But that's I even ever since I had the podcast episode with him, I thought of myself, and even in these situations where I'm like, you know what, if I, because sometimes I'm snappy with people, you know, like sometimes I tell people off in a way that maybe is not the best way to do it. I think I have, but again, because to me, I know I'm a very direct person, and I know sometimes it's not good,
Yeah,
and I accept it. Although sometimes I still I like, that's the thing. I sometimes have to apologize for the way I say things, but I'm like, the sentiment is right. Like I don't apologize. No, like I apologize that I said something.
It's not what you've said; it's how you've said
Yeah,
it.
it's
the wrong bit.
yeah. So I will apologize for what I have said, but what I try
But
to
the message,
message.
see the message.
It's
That's the
still
important thing.
exactly that the message is still the same, and that's one of the things that again I do think about. So, but then yeah, if I can forgive again, like if someone else can forgive themselves for
No,
you know,
that's beautiful. I struggle with forgiving myself about bad
Yeah.
stuff I've done. Yeah, okay, that's.
it does seem
Oh,
like
I'm gonna
you
have to
know,
listen to that episode now.
yeah you
What was that episode?
is Arno Michaelis. I'll show you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I'll send it to you. But
Right. So, what are your other? So, if recognizing that something's not right with you, what are the other two things you do then that I can steal?
So the recognizing, then yeah, just again accepting, just being like, you know what, I'm a bit
I am
fucked
this.
today.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I am, and I also think, you know, in the accepting, it's like almost like taking the things at the time. So for example, one of my things is if I have a shit day and I have a gig, now I have to like put on this, you know, because I can't like be. I have to, although I'm not a high energy guy, I have to pick it up a bit. So I just kind of like have to acknowledge, I know what, for the next 10, 15 minutes,
You've got to be professional.
you've got exactly that's the thing. You got to show up.
Yeah, you've
So-
got absolutely.
and
Because
then-
these people have paid for babysitters, right? They've paid for a night out. They've paid for a ticket. they've
Exactly.
paid for this. They've invested so much time and effort. You're going to ruin that. Come on.
Well,
yeah.
you see, and
Up your game.
but it's also, I don't even
Be
think 'cause-
professional.
but again, you have to say, like, if you're the kind of person who actually like, oh, you want to look out for yourself, it's kind of like, you know what, sometimes I think I've been miserable for like 50 minutes of this hour. I'll just be
Be
happy for 10,
Or I'll just be professional for 10. Because
and then I go back. Like
I've
as soon
got-
as I get
yeah.
off stage, I can.
misery's
like,
right
oh,
over there.
Yeah.
But here, this is work.
So I even
And
think like,
I need
look,
to pay the mortgage. So
exactly, or even
Yeah.
when I come home and like say I speak with my partner, sometimes I feel like, you know, I want to bitch and moan about everything, but sometimes like, you know, she's had a rough day, I had a rough day.
yeah.
I'll just fucking,
The-
you know,
The perception of a gig is so weird because, so I run my own gig, a quick plug, 101 comedy. It's in Folkestone and in Edinburgh, and it's in Folkestone it's a pro gig, so we only have pro acts on there, and I MC it. And me and my mate Mike, he closed, I was the MC, and my wife's in the audience. She always helps us. At the end of the night, we're putting all the gear away, and he's helping me pack up. And he went, "That was awful." And I went, "Wasn't that just terrible? What an awful gig." And my wife went, "What are you two on about? What gig are you on about?" And me and Mike are like, "The one that just happened." And she went, "You two are idiots." I'm like, "No, we're not. We were there. You weren't there." And she went, "I was there in the audience with the audience."
yeah.
You spoke, they laughed. They were entertained. You entertained them. They walked out buzzing. She went, "I saw them on the way out. They all thanked me." We had about 100 people in. They all thanked me on the way, going, "Oh, it was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant." Loads of them come back for the following month.
Yeah.
Yet me and Mike are there going, "Oh, that was terrible." And she went, "What happens to you up there on stage that you think it's so bad?" I'm like, "I don't know." And she's absolutely right. It wasn't a terrible gig. I've watched the tape back.
Yeah.
It wasn't a terrible gig at all. It was a great gig. But something happened that changed mine and Mike's perception of it. And this is what I say from here on in. After every gig, your perception, that's not reality. It's just your perception of it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it doesn't mean it's true. It's just that's how you're perceiving it. So if you're perceiving it that way and it's upsetting to you, like me and him are upset about
Yeah.
the gig, change your perception. Because you're like, okay, hang on. And my wife's right. I look back and I went, actually, that was a pretty decent gig.
Yeah.
It was all right. Yeah, I'm here just going, "Oh, that was awful." And if she hadn't have interrupted even to this day, I would go, that was an awful gig. But no, it wasn't an awful gig, right? Just change how you look at stuff. And it's what you just said. Recognize it. Just recognize it and go, oh, I thought that was awful. Okay, I've now got time and space. Was it awful? And if it's bothering me, maybe I should look at,
Yeah.
oh, it is bothering me. I've got time. Oh, it wasn't awful. She's right. Okay, good. I've been an idiot there.
And you see, even in that case, what else I would say is that you also have to acknowledge, even if say it was awful, that's your perception that it was awful, and you have to, again, if you say you don't go as far as changing your perception, just accept that it's your own perception. Like, as long as I don't know, for example, with gigs, as long as like you know you get the freaking like Google reviews or whatever, and they're like, oh, MC was great, closing act was amazing, that maybe in your perception you're like, you know what, it wasn't good. But the guy or like the person who left that, they were like, no, it was good. I loved it. And then again, sometimes, you know, and I think because also with comedy being, and I think it's quite hard to use this as an example because comedy is so subjective as well. But this is the truth. Like, you know, you look at something and you're like, oh, this is shit. And then the person behind you will be like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And then again, it goes back to a little sentence I used earlier where it's like, I believe that you believe that's the most beautiful thing that you've seen in your life.
Yeah.
But I also believe that that's shit.
Yeah.
And that's also okay. Like, again, because the thing is, to me, and I also...
Comedy can be 2 to 3 different things.
Yeah. And
different people.
And it depends on...
And it's okay that you love it. It's okay that you love it. Yeah,
because I mean, look, I don't know if you've got the same problem, but no problem, but the same thing where like sometimes I have jokes that I've done, although I've not done comedy for that long. It's been just kind of like over 3 years, but I have jokes that I've done, like a joke in particular that I've done ever since I started. It's a joke that gets a very good like audience reaction,
right?
But I hate doing that joke because I'm just like, it's one of the first jokes I've ever done.
Let's just get into that quickly.
Yeah.
If you hate it, why do you still do it?
Because people like it, and like
How do they know if they've never heard it?
What do you mean?
Well,
no, because I used to like it. Like when I started, it was like a huge part of me.
I get you completely.
Yeah,
I get you completely. Right, but you don't like it now. So why are you still doing it?
Because every time
I'm trying to get you to admit something.
Yeah.
So why? Sorry, I'm bullying you.
It's fine.
I'm bullying you a bit here. And I'm looking at you, and you're smiling at me like a child, going, "Go on, whoa." I think you're doing the joke because you know the reaction that you're going to get from it.
Yeah.
Right, and it's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy. And I think that's really dangerous.
Really,
I think that's really dangerous.
How so?
Because instead of so let's call that joke A.
Yeah.
Right, and joke A always gets you a 8 out of 10 laugh.
Yeah.
Right. And you can rely on it and you can trust it. And that's beautiful, right? Well done for creating it. And you've brought that into the world. That's brilliant. And you keep relying on that. And now you're like, I hate that joke. But you do it because it's easy and you know it works. Whereas I think what you should do when you get to the point of you hate it, stop saying it and write 10 more of those. Just write 10 more of those.
Right.
Because you've clearly got the skill because you've written the one already. So replicate that and write 10 more of those that you don't hate. And then you can sift through, you can go through them and just write more is what I'm saying. Because it's easy when you've got a good joke. I've got exactly the same. There's about 5 jokes. They just always work. And it's made me lazy. And I think it's really dangerous.
Okay.
I really do. And you get to the point where you resent a joke. How ridiculous is that? How ridiculous
That's very
is that?
good.
Like the emotion that came out of you there on your face, you're like, because you got, when you smile, right, a room lights up, right? Even now, I'm like, oh, we're going to do great things. Look at this guy, right? But just a second ago, I went, I hate that joke. I'm like, how could you hate a fucking joke? What?
Yeah.
That you created? Fucking hell, what are you saying it for then, you dickhead? Just stop saying it.
That's a good
point.
And
it's really hard. It's really difficult. But write 10 more. Just write 10 more of those. Because you've clearly got the skill. If you wrote that one and you're like, yeah, but I'll never write a joke as good as that. You will.
You will.
You will, right?
Yeah.
You've got to trust yourself, and you've got to do what you said a moment ago. You've got to do the work. Do the work. You've got to keep writing them jokes. I recently did a course last year, and the first month of the course, the teacher, Amanda Baker, and Abby Grant, are amazing. And she went, okay, I want 10 jokes a day. And when she said that, I went, sorry, miss, I misheard you. Did you say 10 jokes a day? And she was like, yeah, motherfucker, I want 10 jokes a day. And in my head, I'm like, well, that can't be done. No one can write 10 jokes a day. 10 jokes
That
a
is
day.
a lot.
No, it's not. Are you kidding me?
Really?
It's not a lot. It's just, it can take anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 hours or more, right?
Yeah.
But it's doable. And she said, just do it. It's an exercise. And it's like going to the gym. And you know what? Everything she said was absolutely right. Because by the end of the month, I'd submitted to her 300 jokes.
Holy shit.
And then, and because I keep telling myself I can't write jokes. And then I'm like, hang on, you idiot. You just wrote 300 jokes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're not great jokes. I'd like
Yeah.
to point that out, right? But some of them are.
Yeah.
Some of them are now in my set.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, 10 jokes a day. Go and do that. And it's all doable. But I think the thing about comics, and I'm stereotyping here and generalizing, is we are fundamentally lazy.
I think to a
Yeah.
respect that goes without saying. I think is one of the things that
Yeah.
we find it hard to actually.
And if you've ever, like, look, you got on your wall there, you've got the most OCD organized bookshelves I've seen in quite a long time, which I've fallen in love with you and your partner over the way you're stacking your books. But you've got comedians' books up there,
Yeah.
right? I think if you got all of those comedians and you would do a Venn diagram of what makes them them, the only thing that would unite all of them, it would be in the center of the Venn diagram, would be hard work.
Yeah.
They worked hard. You know the one-liner, Tim Vine,
Yeah.
right? He said, I get up in the morning, I write 10 jokes. And then once the 10 jokes are done, sometimes it takes me an hour, sometimes it takes me a few hours, but when they're done, I'm done. He goes, therefore, that gives me 70 jokes a week. And therefore, that's 280 jokes a month. Therefore, when I go on tour, I've been writing for a year, I've got 3,000 jokes to go through. So let's go through which ones work, which ones don't. Let's polish them. Let's get rid of them. Same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, yeah, I think the work ethic, and even if it's in a different, this is the thing, yeah. In one hand, I do agree that many of us are very like lazy, but I feel like in the other hand, wildly hardworking.
Yes.
But
yeah.
I also think, as to be honest, I think with comedy, sometimes some people are like, you know what, the hardest part is getting out there, and then I actually think that to some comedians, the hardest part can be the writing as well, because again, like I think you see to other comics where it doesn't. I think sometimes depending on the comic, it doesn't even matter what they say. It's just because that persona that will bring can bring something up. So again, that's the thing. Everyone is different, and then everyone in it has this sort of side, which I think it goes with everything. Like any job in the world, you can't be good at every single aspect of the said job. Like I think because when people ask me, and I'm sure you get asked sometimes, but it's like, oh, who's your favorite comic? I don't think I have a favorite comic. I have someone who I love for their writing. I have one who I love for their performance. I have someone who I love.
Them all. That's my problem.
And then, well, again,
that's a massive problem for me, especially the bad ones. I loved them all because they're all like, okay, I can see what you're trying to do there.
Yeah,
I love them all. And they ask the two guys I work with. They're like, what do you think of this? They've stopped asking me.
Yeah.
Because I can always see the positives. I'm like, wow, she brought this to the room. And then they're like, yeah, but like for 3 or 4 minutes, she didn't get any laughs. And I'm like, yeah, okay, she didn't. But for the 7 minutes she did get laughs, they were unique laughs to her that she created. That was amazing. They're like, okay, but yeah, she needs to get 10 minutes worth of laughter. Yeah, okay, that's a fair point.
Well, you see, but this is a thing again where it goes into a whole bigger picture where now I've learned, or like I'm trying to learn a bit more about doing my own shows and things like that, where it's like, it's a difference between, doing like a 10-minute set and preparing for a 20-minute set and a 30-minute set, in the way you warm up the room, in the way, and that's where and I think, again, I learned stuff that I didn't know 2 weeks ago. Like I didn't know a week ago, I didn't know 6 months ago, I didn't know a year ago. So again, sometimes you can have people who are wildly like incredible. They just need a little more warm up.
Well, here's what I've learned about running my own gigs. I get other people to book the acts.
Interesting.
I cannot. If I've told you you're good, it means nothing. because I can see the beauty in all of it. I love it as an art form.
Yeah.
And even the bad ones. And my wife said last year we had 5 comics go on stage at my Edinburgh show, and they were all shit. Right? But I couldn't see the shit.
Yeah.
And I walked up there, I'm like, what's up with you as an audience? Like, she's great, that girl. Like, he's brilliant, this bloke. What are you on about? And she went, they're all shit. And she went, and you're trashing the brand when you go, they were great. And I'm like, but to me, they were great. And she went, well, maybe you need to say it like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think, again, this is a fair point, and I think especially with because sometimes one of the things I think about comedy like promoters is I think the mentality I respect and love the most sometimes is like they don't have to like your act. I think because it has to be a lot based on what does the video, like the room look, does that room look like my room, and then if it looks like my room, are they laughing to the person on stage? And if they do, I can think that this is rubbish. But then if those people who again are in
for the audience,
similar room dynamic that I have, bring it on. But anyway, Matt, it's been such a pleasure. We've recorded for
I have to go
just over 2 hours. Yeah.
Sorry, man. I could talk to you all day.
No, it's a pleasure was mine. And what I want to ask you is the last question, plug time. So you already mentioned the Folkestone gig.
Yeah.
In Folkestone, but then also
comedy in Folkestone about 8 times a year, so it's a monthly gig.
Your social media handle?
If you go to Linktree and Matt Wills, MattWills, it's all on there. So I've got Instagram, TikTok. I was in a movie. I did a nude scene in a movie.
No way.
Yeah, that's on there. Tickets for every show, Edinburgh. The shows I do regularly in London. So I gig in London 4 or 5 times a week.
Nice.
They're all on there. Everything's there. So yeah, whatever the link tree, I think it's link.tr/.
I'll put it in the. Don't worry, I'll add it to
I'll send you the link. So
I'll add it to the bio of this episode. It's been such a pleasure, man. I agree with you.
Man. I've loved being here.
Yeah,
and I love this area. I love your flat. I love the cats. Obviously, I'll be back next time I come in. I want lunch.
Yeah,
and I will never invite you to mine. But you know why? It's not because I don't like you. It's just because I like my home.
Yeah. No, which is fair enough. I was going to say, unless you start doing another podcast and you use your home as a. And I think this is the only, like, sometimes when I book people on the podcast, is actually people that I find like, I'd love hanging out with these people,
right?
But I don't have the energy to go like, let's go and grab a coffee. So I'm like, let's just go to the podcast, because it's kind of like, now we spent 2 hours, we chit chatted, and now I can be like, you know what, I hang out with you. Tick. Yeah. And also I did the podcast episode. And I'm like, cool.
Tick.
Yeah.
Right,
anyway,
wrap it up, man.
That's it. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks, Levy.
Okay, well, thank you for listening. Again, I'm aware it's a long episode, but I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I enjoyed recording it. And make sure you check out Matt's socials, my socials, to stay in touch with us. And until next week, stay skillful. But from me, Pickle and Sarma, stay skillful. Goodbye.